pieces in my life go away with you. Forever in my mind, only you. The pieces in my life run away with you. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love.
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to live coverage of this round number 11 of the 2013 Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing World Championship. It is the big event. We've had the World Series, we've had the World Trophy earlier this afternoon, and now this is the marquee event of the weekend. Hello everybody, we are here at the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka Circuit in Mie Prefecture in Japan. Currently in the practice sessions at the moment, and we are looking set. We're now heading into the second half, the final third of the season, I should say, as we head towards the end of the championship. It's almost certain that Woodwiss is going to wrap it up, unless something dramatically goes wrong, shall we say. Introduction to the commentary team. Myself, Scott Woodwiss, here as always. No Nick Rowland today. Unfortunately, he's a combination of him being in Liverpool today and the fact he's lost his voice, which is rather unfortunate. But hopefully, if he is watching, hello to Nick. Hopefully, you get better. And commiserations for Nick because he didn't finish the World Series race yesterday, which is a rather unfortunate set of circumstances. But the man I did call the World Series race for yesterday, he's back with me once again today. It is, of course, the fantastic Mr. Lewis McGlade. Good afternoon, Lewis.
Afternoon, hello. Yes, hoping for some more good racing between the load of them as we are in Q1 at the moment. So, yeah, we've got hopefully a good race coming up, but I mean, it does look increasingly likely with the championship that Bono's going to be wrapping it up anytime soon. I mean, there's not very long left of this championship left, 5 rounds including today, and you know that's just he can wrap it up pretty soon. He can't wrap it up here, but you know, in a few rounds' time. It'll be there for him to take it. I mean, he's got that consistency and he's incredibly fast at the moment, so there's no holding back with him.
Absolutely. With another win for Woodwiss last time out in Monza, we now move, of course, onto the second part of the Asian race that we follow. Of course, we're here at Suzuka. Then we go to Korea, then we go to the newly announced Singapore Grand Prix around the Marina Bay Street Circuit, where which was the one only time which we raced there back in 2010. It was the site of Woodwiss's very first championship victory, when he sealed up his first title back in 2010. And then, of course, we go to the last few races of the season after that. We go to Abu Dhabi, and then we go to Brazil before finishing off in Brazil, as we have done the past couple of seasons. And off the back of last race, we have a look at the results. Of course, going into the championship as well, we can see that Woodwiss was once again dominant, but just quickly, if I bring up the Monza results on my screen for a second, and we can see that it was a very successful return for one Jeffrey Rietveld, Of course, he's been away and did a couple of races last year. He's come back with GT Omega, which is now an arm of Precision Motorsports, and Jeffrey's been off racing touring cars for Precision Motorsports, many V8 supercars and Clios and the like, and came back. It was a very successful return to FSR with third quickest, and actually, as we mentioned, that he's actually top of the pile in the practice times here with just 15 seconds left on the clock. 1:30.776, clear the fastest times of the weekend. So you've got drivers finally into the 1 minute 30s. A lot more drivers into that bracket of 30s at the moment. And what's intriguing is that in the top 5, no Precision Motorsports cars is in the works team, because we currently have Rietveld top, Pushka second, Jack Keithy is third, with Pushka driving for Ghostspeed, Jack Keithy in the second GT Omega. Then in fourth place, taking over from that what was the vacant seat left by Morgan Morant, Jurnej Simoncic has been promoted now to the main Ghostspeed team, so well done to him. He's looking to try and help Pushka and Ghostspeed sustain their second place in the Teams Championship. Then in P5 we've got Peter Burlak for Twister Racing, of course the winner of yesterday's dramatic World Series race when Martin Ghostspeed was leading after he took the lead from the start and grabbed it from Peter Burlak, who qualified on pole. And then a dramatic disconnection for Ghostspeed. Not only saw him lose the win of the race, but it also, and handing it to Peter Burlak, but also as a result, Burlak has also inherited the championship lead in the World Series, so he can come on into this race with very high spirits indeed. The rest of the top 10 at the end of practice goes as follows. Bono Huis, the championship leader and 3-time defending champion, sits 6th ahead of teammate Ivar Calamé, so Precision Car 6th and 7th. Edouard Malorqui is 8th for the second Twister Racing car. Franz Schneider, the man who also has won a race this weekend, he won the World Trophy race earlier this afternoon for Ghostspeed. He sits 9th for Ash Racing. And Marek Godek returning once again. He is in the Bad Tipishkara UA machine to round out the top 10. Also, we can mention there's no Patrick DeWitt again this weekend because his 2-race ban, as far as I'm aware, is up because he has missed the races in both Valencia and in Monza, but he's not here for this weekend either. So that means Gergo Baldi will stay at Netrex alongside Kostadinov for this race at least. And those two cars are 11th and 12th. So, Lewis, going to the final 5 races of the championship. This is that was Q1 in fact, not Q2. So actually that is our top 10 going through the Q2. So apologies for that. So Rietveld, Pushka, Keithley, Simoncic, Burlak, Huis, Calamés, Malorqui, Schneider and Godek will all go through to the top 10 shootout. But looking at those the final 5 races, I think now with Moran out of the picture, Lewis, I hate to say it, I think in many ways, unless something goes spectacularly wrong for Huis, the championship's looking like a foregone conclusion, really, isn't it?
To be honest, I think, even a few rounds ago when Huis retook the lead, even if Moran was there, because Moran's not really had particularly the best of seasons, and I think it was going to be Huis's anyway. He looked like he just had the absolute pace this season. I will point out that the top 6 in that session were all within 700ths of a second, and that was Rietveld down to Huis. Also, another thing to point out was that Huis didn't have pole last time out. That went to Samuel Libert. So Huis maybe being able to be toppled. I mean, he had a mistake in his final sector in Monza anyway, so that's why he missed out there. But with the top 10 that we've got now, we've got loads of quick drivers in there, and it's hopefully going to be quite an interesting quali session as they're all going to go out one by one to try and set a lap. They only get 1 lap here to make it count. And we'll just have to see if Huis is on pole. But Rietveld, I don't think he actually got the podium last time out because I think he had it taken away post-race penalties. But I'd have to triple check that one from the forums. But I believe he did have a penalty.
I think you're right.
After the race, which cost him the podium.
It is a shame. I haven't actually had a chance to properly look at the World Championship race because I was actually at Snetterton that weekend for helping commentate on the TCB 24 hours. Oh dear, and Marek Godek, that is not how you start your qualifying lap at all, because start your out lap, because he just lost it on the Degner curves, puts it at full 360. Actually, Jaakko, can we get a replay of that just to see anyone who didn't see that at all? But Godek comes down towards the Degner curves and just gets over the exit curve on the first part, does a complete 360 and hurls it straight into the barrier. And I think, I'm not sure how the rules go on this one, but maybe Jaakko can clarify. Does this mean that Marek Godek does not get to set a lap time because he hasn't gone out yet?
He can't right. I don't think he can set a lap time now. I've done a few hot lap sessions before, and it's the kind of scenario when once you've made a mistake, even if it's in your out lap or your fast lap or anything like that, you can't go out again. You will get disqualified from doing so, because I think that's the whole point, is that you get 1 out lap, 1 hot lap, 1 in lap. That's the whole way it works. And He's not really helped himself there, unfortunately, but still P10. It's a good starting position, and especially around a track like this. I mean, it's on the inside for the first turn, which we did see yesterday being quite an advantage. So we'll just have to see how good the start will be for Marek Godic.
Well, of course, starting from P10, it means he'll have a lot of work to do to try and get through the field. So this now means that the man who we're actually going to have starting our first qualifying lap of the session is indeed going to be Franz Schneider. So, of course, he is on a high from winning earlier, as we said, winning the World Trophy race earlier on for Go Speed. He now sits in the sister team Ash Racing car, with James Simoncic being promoted up to Go Speed, as we said, to try and help bolster their second place in the championship. Across the line he comes then to start our first qualifying lap of this Q2 session. Downhill approach down towards turn 1. You sweep in here at an incredibly fast rate, and just going to quickly jump in so we can have a look at his lap time here. And he's having a really good run so far. Head through these high-speed S curves. Third gear, lift up a little bit, and then just uses all the hugs the inside to grab an early apex.
Oh yeah!
Oh, and again, first it's Godic, now it's Schneider. So
I did also see that he went a little bit wide on one of the final, the final right-hander in the S's section. He went a little bit wide, missed the apex. You could have fit about probably even half a car width in there, which that's quite a bit of time. You know, you can lose about a tenth from doing that, especially around the corner as long as that, and you know it can really put you on the back foot when you're heading into the next corner. I think that's what you saw. He pushed the car out too wide, got the rear onto the curb, pulled him out. Went straight into the wall, wasn't good to see, and well, unfortunately that's his lap over. So we've had 2 attempts and still not a lap time yet.
I'm actually wondering if this is the continuing trend, whether or not we're actually going to get a lap time in this Q2 session, because we've had 2 cars go off, one before they've even started their lap and one before they even reached the end of the first sector. So at this rate, I think we are probably going to get a couple of laps, but at this rate everyone else is going to be struggling out there for grip, so that's going to be a recurring theme. Right, should we try this again? We've now got Edouard Malorqui this time on the back straight to start his qualifying lap. But we have seen I'm sure Lewis will back me up on this one, we've seen a lot of drivers go off at certain parts of the circuit. One of them actually being turn 1, running wide a couple of times. Degner curve's also been another place where people have been running off wide as well. So it has this nature of these curbs and this kind of it's a very high-speed circuit, but it's also in some cases quite narrow, and you tend to find a lot of understeer in your car to, and obviously understeer a car in some of these corners if you take them at too high a speed. And the problem is that of course then, you know, because you're heating up these tyres so much, it's a front limited circuit, so a lot of punishment going through these front tyres as Malorqui winds his way through one of these punishing sections, the S curve behind the pits, and then goes back now, this time misses the grass here. Now, what's his approach through Degner going to be like here? Is it going to be clean? Ooh, over the runoff curve, but he managed to keep it nice and stable. So finally, we've got someone who's actually managed to get further than the Degner curves on a qualifying lap, which is a miracle. Down towards the hairpin. First gear he uses, down about 70 kilometres an hour. Huge non-black line of rubber, so he couldn't get the power as much as he wanted to. But through the 200R, very long car, Bottas' car sparking along the ground. And then towards the double apex spoon curve, another corner where people have been finding it difficult. These very tricky runoff areas, you get the very kind of tricky curves on the outside, followed by that very slippery AstroTurf, and that can really split the car one way and then the other. But so far it's been a tidy lap for Edouard Malorqui, nothing too dramatic. End of the second sector, flat through 130R at 301 kilometres an hour, and back down towards the Casio triangle, hard under the brakes to second gear, 80 kilometres an hour, flicks right, then left, and then will hold the car, I would have thought, to the inside for the shortest run towards the line. Indeed he does. And what will the benchmark time be for Malorqui? Oh, 1:32.949. But then again, that may be a hard tyre run. So Malorqui thinking about the long game in terms of strategy for this Grand Prix this afternoon.
Yeah, quite possibly. You would assume that with that kind of time. But, I mean, even then, that was quite a good lap. He missed probably a couple of apexes, but nevertheless, it was quite good. Next one out is Ivar Calames, who had a podium last time out, but did very well. I think he qualified about 10th or something like that, and worked his way through the grid. And the section, the S's section, there's a kind of camber with it. On this corner right here, it's actually an inverse camber, so it's quite difficult to actually get into that apex. But there's a camber, there's a route that you can take through it where, you know, you're always on like the lower part of it. Always gone a bit wide at the Degners, but keeps it in check. Good catch. But there's this specific line that you work your way through, and I think, yep, he has just escaped. Don't know why he would do that, really. I mean, I know he went wide, but you can still get some good time out of it and finish off. But nevertheless, it's about finding your way to flow through this track. I mean, this is why quite a lot of drivers like it, because there is a specific flow to it. When you start, especially through the S's section, when you start clipping apexes, they'll all come together. You'll clip all of them, and it works really nicely once you've got that line going. So it's quite a difficult track to learn, but it's a nice one to drive once you've figured that line.
Well, here comes the next man on track, called Championship Leader. We don't usually see him out this early, but Woodwiss gets to lay down his benchmark as the 5th man on track, and so far 4 cars out, and we've only had 1 time from them, so we're going to get our 2nd time lap then, hopefully with Woodwiss. What kind of a story would that be if he makes a mistake in his qualifying lap? And I may be tempting fate if I say that, but anyway, down towards turn 1. Let's look at his approach. Swings in at 215 odd kilometres an hour. I think I'm actually quicker than that, might be 300 odd kilometres an hour into there. And now as he brings the car through these S curves, very tricky section this track to try and get right. And apparently we're hearing Ivar Calamet forced his lap because he felt he put all 4 tyres across the white line, and as a result that would have been a penalised lap, so he effectively would have had whatever time he'd set taken away from him. Let's see Bono's time. Is he up? Of course he's up by just over a 10. Cleaner line through the Degner curves, 3rd gear through the second part, and spets it out the other side as he shoots up towards the hairpin, approaching 270 k's, down to the brakes again to first. He goes as slow as 70 kph on the apex, not as much wheel spin as Milwaukee this time. And again, just hugging the inside of this 200R, long right-hander for the double apex. First one. Possibly pretty well used, a little bit of an exit curb. Doesn't need to touch the second part. And again, a dab of exit curb as he heads up now across the crossover. And second sector split. He's up by almost just over 6/10 of a second. This is clearly going to be the fastest time so far, obviously, because the only benchmark we have is Milwaukee. Spots left and then right. Only took curb on the left rather than the right for that Casio triangle. But again, shorter run towards the line. Doesn't even go towards the pit lane. 32.092. That possibly to me would be a hard tyre run as well, I would have thought, if he's feeling comfortable on that one. Now, I've just been told Peter Burlack is skipping his lap time as well.
We are not getting many times here.
We're not. It's, apologies if this is not as entertaining a Q2 session as you would have expected in the FSR World Championship, but a lot of drivers either seem to be aborting their laps or can't keep it on the road. But next man on track then is Jerne Simičić, his first weekend as a works at Ghost Speed driver rather than Ash Racing. And
no,
Simičić
he was Ghost Speed last week in Monza.
Oh, he was? Okay, that's fair enough. I'll let Lewis do the lap in a second, but Simičić, of course, I think he's definitely earned that seat, of course, because he put in some stellar performances so far for Ash Racing, and they've been a tyre weaving up towards 130R. But hopefully he can deliver the goods today, because he's a very capable little driver, and hopefully if he can put string together a good lap, maybe even a top 5. I thought that'd be obvious because the only one's going out.
Well, even it seems like in this session currently, if you get a lap time in, that's pretty much a top 5 in the consideration of who hasn't done a lap. But basically the first part of this right-hander here is flat. You know, you're flat up until about the apex, and then you brake, and then you turn it in really deep, get it into that apex. And this was the S's section that I was talking about earlier, where there's a kind of camber with it. You can see it if you're riding on board, where or even from the off-board, really. You can see there is a camber with it, and you've got to watch out for the curbs because they will pull you off, as we have seen earlier. He gets a bit wide, but no, holds it, carrying some good speed up here, and then into the Degners. Missed the first apex because that will spit you off. And what was the time? I
can tell you now, he's actually up by a quarter by 0.125 a second on Woodwiss. So actually this is looking like a super time here for Jerne Simičić. I think possibly could be soft tyres, but we'll see.
Yeah, he got a little bit out of shape going through the hairpin. He got a little bit wide as well, missed the apex. But this is what I think is possibly the most difficult part of the track. It's not this first apex. This first apex is really easy to hit. It's this second one. This second one matters more, but he doesn't care. He's hit it. He's hit it fine. It's on a bit of a slight inverse camber, and it's really hard to hit with the front left, but you've got to get in there if you want the maximum lap time. And he heads down to 130R, and what's the split?
He's lost time.
He's
now
lost
down
time.
Yeah. down by just over a quarter of a second.
Right, okay, so could be showing some things with the setup as he heads through the Casio triangle and then down. Is he going to keep right? He's not going to keep right, okay. Just having a little run to the line, and the time is a 1:32.460, so he's basically halfway between Malorpy and Huis, so he's in second position at the moment, and the next car out on track is going to be Jack Keithley.
It's the first of these magnificent GT Omega cars. GT Omegas yesterday with the wheel of Cyril Vermeulen, especially Nick Rowland, and a lightning getaway in the first few laps, so I think that Keithley and Reetwell definitely have got a very nice base setup that they've run for, thanks to Cyril and Nick. And Jack Keithley is the first of these GT Omegas to really swing through. Of course, it was announced that the GT Omega team, the actual GT Omega slot, is up for sale, because of course there's new rules coming in next year saying that teams cannot have the sister teams. So effectively, GT Omega being a sister team in Precision Motorsport will be no more, as Keithley goes just over a tenth slower than Huis in Sector 1. Very ragged approach and a lot of understeer through the first part of Degner curve. A lot of lock he had to put on to try and get that car around the corner. Lock up into trail brakes into the hairpin, but locked up a lot as well. Not as much wheel spin on the exit though, so his entry was more aggressive than his exit. And out towards the spoon curve, the very tricky apex as Lewis has just mentioned. Spots the first one nicely. Bit of exit curve just to try and help turn the car. And again, a tidy exit for the second part, and now he'll start the run towards 130R and back towards the pits. And we're going to measure now of what his sector time is going to be. He's now lost more time. He's only down by a quarter of a second, so this could be a time pretty much around the same as Simoncic's. Hooks up the first part. Look, a lot of curve with this, and again, a lot of curve taken through the Casio triangle. And Keith elects to stay right towards the pit wall this time to get a shorter run to the line, and it earns him second, 1:32.375, so I think fractionally faster. Man out is going to be, let's have a look, who is it? It is in fact
Pushka.
Pushka, there we go.
Yeah, obviously Jenny Simoncic's teammate, and he gets through the first turn quite nicely. But I think we're just seeing quite a lot of drivers losing time, mainly through the hairpin. Bono was really tight and clean through there. He wasn't getting too much wheel spin or anything like that. He was keeping it under control, keeping it calm, as you would expect from someone with the talent of Bono Huis. But here comes Pushka through the first sector. He doesn't go quite as wide as his teammate through the final part of the S's section as he heads into the Degners, and he doesn't get as wide as his teammate either, but he keeps it under control and keeps it clean, keeps it nice. And we head up into this hairpin, which I've said about some of the drivers aren't as clean off as they should be, so we'll just have to see. Is he on the power? A little bit, but not too bad. It's quite clean as he heads down towards Spoon. Quite an easy section, this little bit here, but then you've obviously got the apexes that we've spoken about. And it's this one, and he gets quite close to it, but has run a little bit wide. Could cost him a tiny bit of time as we head down into the second sector split and towards 130R, which 130R I do distinctly remember used to be very, very difficult, but in a car with these kind of downforce, it's not particularly difficult. It's not as hard as it was. And they break down as the Casio triangle takes quite a bit of curb, not quite as much as Jack Keithley, but then runs to the line. Not taking the tighter line. Neither of the Ghost Speeds did that, and he's put in a time of a 1:32.667, which puts him fourth behind his teammate.
So the last man to go is the man who was quickest in the Q1 session and had a fantastic comeback back in Monza, only to lose the podium after the race. Jeffrey Rietveld in the second GT Omega car. Can he pull something out of the bag to snatch pole position? Here he comes in towards the first corner, heads in at some 260, 270 Ks, and then down into third on the exit, about 170 just as he reaches the exit of the first corner, through these apexes one by one. Spot the first two pretty well, and again number 3 following the line on the inside. And look at that, just following the crest. There's a bit of adverse camber on that fourth apex. Now as you head up through the Dunlop curve, his foot flat to the floor. Does he have any answer to Bono Huis' first sector? Yes, he does. He's up by 300, so not the fastest first sector anyone's set so far in this session, but a very attacking run through the second part of the Degners. Now, this is the crucial part of the hairpin. How's he going to look here? A lock up, oh, big lock up though. And is it any? And a lot of wheel spin on the exit, so that, I think that hairpin may be the difference between Rietveld getting pole and it going once again to Bono Huis towards the spoon curve. First part. flick the apex nicely again. Dab of the exit curve for the first apex, missed the second apex completely, and that could cost him a bit of time. But what kind of setup is he running? How quick is he able to streak down the back straight here? 310k to also, and he's down by almost 2/10. Unless he has a super final sector through this final chicane, it just flies through here. I can't see him getting pole position. All clatter the curb on the first part, tidy run through the second, and he will stay to the right this time. So I don't think it's going to be pole. Where exactly will this time put him? Well, my screen's frozen, so I can't.
He's put him third. He's done a 132.381, so he's actually 6,000th slower than his teammate. Which there's quite a few places where he could have made that 6,000th up, if I'm honest, but nevertheless, that is not the case. So we have our top 10. We have our grid for a race, and Woodwiss is the man on pole.
It is indeed. Before we quickly go to our commercial, we'll give you a quick rundown of that top 10 session. So Woodwiss once again takes pole position for Precision Motorsports, and then it's kind of 2 by 2 really with the teams behind him. It's Jack Keith and Jeffrey Rietveld for GT Omega 2nd and 3rd, Ghost Speeds of Journey Simitich and Philip Pushka are 4th and 5th. Then we have Edward Malorqui and Peter Burlak are 6th and 7th, and then Ivan Calames, who aborted his lap after running all 4 tyres across the white line, is 8th. Franz Schneider didn't make it past the Dunlop corner on his lap and had to retire after crashing. Marek Gerdit will start 10th. Didn't even start his qualifying lap because he retired, because he had to abort it after running off at the Degner curve. So that's rather unfortunate. There's your top 10. We will be back in 2 minutes. We want to say play a quick video to say thank you to our main sponsor, Thrustmaster, and a quick video here to promote their top line product, the T500 RS Racing Wheel. We'll be back in 2. And welcome back to live coverage of round 11 of the 2013 Thrustmaster Formula SimRacing World Championship. We're here at the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, where Woodwiss has once again taken pole position from his 2 sister teammates of Jeffrey Rietveld and Jack Keithley. So that's going to be intriguing as with the top 10 that we have. We are currently in the warm-up session, so a few minutes of that just to let the drivers bed in their setups and get used to cars on race fuel before we get to the race. And currently quickest in the session, just after the first couple of laps being posted, is Peter Burlack, yesterday's World Series victor. 137.905 with Jeffrey Rietveld, the man who took second on the grid. Currently second in the times, but there's a nice little train forward that he's part of. With it looks to me, I think that's Simičić, Rees, and Rietveld with Zuhait's Cabo just behind them as Jasco Spain PSR machine. So I guess really we should start talking about tyre strategy and what we're going to expect in terms of pit stops. Now, obviously, Lewis, you saw more of the race live than I did, so you had a better idea in terms of pit stops. Of course, the rule comes in here today, as it does in the World Championship for every race for this season, that all drivers, not only do they have to start on the compound they qualified on, but also they have to... Oops, I should watch Bono Huis getting forced wide by Jenny Simičić at 130R. Oh, and Bono Huis just says, have that journey, just pushes him wide onto the AstroTurf at the chicane. And so just watching these three races, it's fantastic. Anyway, whilst that's going on, and whilst you guys are being entertained, hopefully you guys are watching this on the stream, because we've got Simičić, Huis and Rietveld are all together, and they're going to go three wide. This is the warm-up, not the race, boys, come on. And again, it is quite funny to watch. But anyway, back to the strategy. You saw more of the race that we did, but with the tyre rules, both drivers have to start on both have to run both compounds in the race as well, both the hard and soft tyres. Of course, the World Series isn't bound by that rule, so it looked to me as though in terms of the times people were setting, that it was more than likely that drivers were going on the harder compound tyre rather than the softs, because everyone was setting 32s rather than 30s. So would it be safe to presume, Lewis, that everyone is at the front, you think, is starting on the hard compound tyre, do you think?
Yeah, I reckon most of the people on the front side of things were on the hards. We did see quite a bit yesterday of people two-stopping as opposed to what was predicted with a 3. So it looks like a two-stop is definitely possible with some of these drivers, and I think that'll be pretty much the preferred strategy because you don't lose particularly too much time doing it. So I think a two-stop, especially when you're starting on the harder compound tyre, so you may go hard, soft, or hard, soft, hard, something like that. Which that'll work out for you because you do have to run both tyre compounds. So I think we'll see a bit of a mix in strategy, but I always think strategy will be a key part in this, unless it's Bono Huis, who I kind of think will run away with it because his pace is always excellent. And he's super consistent. I mean, it's really irritating how consistent he is. Because if you were to ride on board with him every single lap, trust me, he would clip every single apex every single time. The only time he wouldn't is when he was on cold tyres or overtaking someone. It is absolutely incredible to see Bono drive because he is perfect every single time he goes through a corner. And that is why he constantly wins, because he is absolutely perfect. He practices and practices and practices and is excellent at driving these cars around these tracks. Unfortunately for us watching, it kind of means he can run away with it, but as a skill standpoint, it's absolutely superb.
Can't argue with that. Bono Huis definitely is a talent in the world of sim racing. One has to wonder just how well he would get on if he was given the chance in a real race car, because he's only 19 years old, so he's got plenty of time ahead to possibly find that out. It's amazing that he took his first World Championship when he was just 16 years old back in 2010, and since then he has been the dominant force of FSR, and one has to wonder how long that's going to continue before we see someone else on the throne of FSR World Champion. But this season, as much as we hate to admit it, looks more likely to be a foregone conclusion, and that Bono Huis is inevitably on his way to a 4th World Championship unless something dramatic happens to him or certain circumstances in the races don't come his way and he somehow doesn't lose the championship this season. I can't see that happening because Bono is just too good of a driver.
Yeah, also I did just notice a quick question from Rick Vieg, which is are all the cars of equal performance in this league? And yes, they are. They're all the same. They all look different because they're all based on the modelling of the 2012 cars from Formula 1, but they are all equal. The only difference that you can make between the cars is setup, and there is a lot you can do with setup that can gain you small bits of time or large bits of time, but they are all equal cars throughout the grid.
Yeah, that is true. There are leagues out there which do run kind of R&D based performance upgrades that they can program into the cars after each race, depending on how much testing you've done. But FSR doesn't do that. It's just purely just get in the car, whack on a setup, and go as fast as you can. And they do run different car shapes. So the car shapes are based on the 2012 real Formula 1 car shapes. You might see some of the recognisables cars like the Precision and the Twister cars look not too dissimilar to a Lotus, and cars like the Ash Racing and Ghost Speed cars, and also the GT Omegas look like the Sauber. So the car shapes are based on them, and of course the car teams then put on their own liveries. And I have to say, you do have some fantastic looking cars in terms of paint jobs. The Precision Motorsport one with the luminous yellow dominating with the silver and the red on the engine cover as well as a fantastic looking car. I think the Twister car looks fantastic as well. Also, so does the GT Omega with the white and the red and the black. Ash Racing car looks good as well in the black and yellow. I don't think really there's a bad looking car in the field, to be honest. I think all the cars look exceptional, and there were some very talented painters and skin makers out there who put these cars together and put these fantastic paint jobs together. And you see them displayed all the way through the season. And one thing we do have to give a shout out to, I'm not entirely sure if it was given a shout out to back in Italy, but we do have a new team that joined us recently in the World Championship. If you want to switch us to a Jaakko, it is this man, Peter Helmbro. Welcome to Slytex Racing. This is their second race weekend. I think they were supposed to have 2 drivers this weekend. There must be, I think it was Robert Rudholm, who is the other driver for this team, but it is a Swedish team. Peter Helmbro, Swedish driver, in their very striking black and gold or black and yellow livery. So, but it's more yellow and white, predominantly more yellow and white than compared to the Ash Racing car. So, but a wonderful looking car, and we say welcome to the World Championship, and hopefully they'll be here to try and do some good things in the title race, obviously in the championship, and hopefully we might see them progress up through the field a bit more. But of course, it's baby steps for them. Their first couple of races here in the Premier R-Factor Grand Prix Championship, and hopefully they'll stay around for quite a while. Of course, we've had new teams come and go this season. Of course, we've had Pescara, and also we had the likes of Brem GP has entered in, which is a subsidiary of Netrex, and we also had Biocross Positive with their 2 teams, with the main Biocross Positive team, and then the Spanish spin-off, the Jasco Spain PSR team, who unfortunately are yet to score a point. And of course, the only other team, of course, to not score a point is Slytex. So. But it's nice to see new teams jumping in, Lewis, and hopefully they can do some good things for the rest of this season and the foreseeable future. Yeah,
I think we always like new teams, especially it's just nice to see new car schemes on the grid. I mean, we've seen it quite a bit throughout any other league, or even the World Series, the World Drive, when a new team joins. It's kind of like, I think from people in the comments and from people who watch this and from us, there's quite a lot of support for these new teams, because they're just basically, they're kind of like underdogs, and we want to see how well they're doing. And I think it's just a bit nice to have a new team, a new person to look at, a new support, and a new seat for some of these drivers that have potential to jump in at. And it's a real good thing to see when you have these new teams, you have these new seats open up for these drivers. And I think I only see new teams joining as a positive. It's when it gets to a ridiculous and alarming amount, that's when it becomes a problem. But there are a number of slots that we have for teams here, to stop an oversized grid. So I think we're fine, and I do only see new teams as a positive. It's always nice to see them.
Well, the interesting thing was that whilst you're mentioning there, Helmbro actually popped up to P4 in the warm-up session there. So at least it's shown that in terms of race pace that they've got on there, they can run 137s when they want to. Peter has just left the server for a moment, probably just to double check something. But intriguing to see that even already he's managed to put in some good times. Quickest man in warm-up is, well, who else but Woodwiss. But the man is second, Marek Godek for Panty Pescara. That could be an omen for the rest of the race weekend. Peter Burlak is third ahead of Gergo Baldi, who is qualified outside the top 10 with his teammate Dejan Kostanov, but definitely showing he has got that race pace, as we usually see, and I'm expecting him to go pretty long in the first stint. he does have a knack of being able to run for quite a lengthy amount of time on a set of tyres and extracting 100% of the performance for as long as possible. So he could be a definitely dark horse. The GT Megas are 5th and 6th, Rietveld ahead of Keithley, then Callamays in the 2nd precision car, and then Lepala, who is escaped back to the pits, and then Malorqui and Pushka rounding out the top 10, and a few other drivers getting in there. In terms of drivers we've seen today, I did notice we have got Danny van der Neet in the field today. He's driving the 2nd Brem GP car, and that is alongside Zoltan Schutte. Chris de Jong is back in at Fast and Speed. Of course, the Biocross positive boys of Disney and Van der Linde in the back once again, as is Giuseppe Marconi, and Adrian Rodriguez is back once again for Jaakko Spain PSR alongside Zuhait's Cabo, because Moses Rondon actually has a race ban, I believe, for occurring, I think it was more than 3 penalty points on his licence, and of course if you get to that much you get banned for a race. So Adrian stepped back in once again. He has raced already once this weekend in the World Series, and of course he's back in the top line, and I'm not quite sure looking back behind Rodriguez, looked to me as if Schutte kind of pulled across into the path of or Baldi pulled into the path of Schutte, and I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but there we go. Now waiting for a second to see if Helmbro is going to rejoin, because he has left the game. It would be a shame if he doesn't turn up, because, as we said, we like new teams in FSR, and if he can join back up, then that'll be great. If he does join late, then of course he'll have to start from the pit lane. But this is going to be intriguing. So I guess whilst we're waiting, I guess we can make some predictions for the race tonight, I would have thought.
Don't think you really need my prediction. You kind of know who I'm going to say is going to win.
I think there's an understanding there between the both of us that we both effectively know who we think is going to win this. So there we go. And in fact, I think it looks as though they are going to move to the race, and they are actually going to unfortunately go without Peter Helmbro. He doesn't appear to be coming back in. So that is a shame. But of course, we'll move on to the race session. And the grid will then form up on the grid. Basically, these drivers, they get 30 seconds or so just to finalise their setups, finalise their strategies, and then they have to basically hit the race tab to get themselves onto the grid by the time the clock runs zero. If they don't do that, they will have to start from the pit lane. So all that hard work and qualifying will become for nothing if they do not get themselves promptly onto the grid. It looks like none of the top 10 are on there just yet, which is a bit worrying, but come on. 7 seconds left. Here we go. They're starting to really quickly just jump on right now. And oh, look at that. So Jack Keithley just got in before the zero. That was a very, he cut that fine indeed. But let's run through the grid then as it stands for this afternoon's World Championship Japanese Grand Prix. On the pole, you expect anyone less but Bono Huis. He takes pole position with Jack Keithley starting alongside him on the front row for GT Omega. Then his teammate Jack Keithley starts third, with the two Ghost Speed cars of Jene Simoncic ahead of Philip Pushka for 4th and 5th. Then the two Twister cars of Edouard Malorqui ahead of Peter Burlak in 6th and 7th. Ivan Callamays will start 8th for Precision Motorsports. And Franz Schneider up there in 9th. So 2 race winners this weekend already are starting this race in Burlak and Schneider. And Marek Godek will start the race from the top 10. The Netrex boys of Baldi and Kostadinov will start on row 6. And then if I say Disley is in P13 and Muscudi is in P14, Lewis, second half of the grid is all yours.
Yeah, well, in 15th you got Ville Lapala. Didn't have too good of a World Series race from what I remember. And then you got Zoltan Schutte, Adrian Rodriguez, Marcel van der Linden in 18th, Zuhais Carbo in 19th, Danny van der Neet in 20th. A lot of these drivers have actually done races this weekend and are just back in the World Championship to fill the grid and hopefully have some good racing throughout. Then in 21st you've got Giuseppe Marconi, and then Chris de Jong, and I think that's the grid as we haven't got the new team back, unfortunately, and so it's not been a good day for Fast and Speed lining up at the back of the grid, but nevertheless we shall get to the race ever so shortly, as they are heading around. The last few drivers are heading around Spoon at the moment, but it's a shame at the moment.
Well, Chris Young normally comes good in the race anyway, so I would expect him to possibly start to jump up through the field compared to his teammate Giuseppe Marconi. One thing we need to make clear is that, as we said a few times already this weekend, starting on the inside is not a disadvantage in this championship, because we've seen it both times in both World Trophy and in World Series, that the man on the inside, if he gets a better start, he can pull alongside and get himself in front. Well, because Ben Tusting in the World Trophy race did almost manage that, but Frank Schneider edged him out. But it did work for Martin Gosby because he took the lead from Peter Bellac from pole. So if Keating can get himself a good start, there's every chance he might just be able to nose himself in front of Bono and Woodwiss if that's possible. But first few cars line up onto the grid slots now. If you're looking at it from the front, Woodwiss is on the right in pole for precision. Jack Keithley sits in second. Bono Woodwiss is looking to strengthen his championship lead. Jack Keithley and Ivar Callaway looking to try and catch up. GT Omega are going to want to try and get as many points as they can as possible. They start ahead of Ghost Speed in their campaign to get second in the championship. And what can some of the new guys do from the back of the field? Last couple of cars coming onto the back of the grid, and we are all set, just about, for 53 laps of the Suzuka circuit. Is it going to be another Woodwiss domination? Are we going to get someone else? We'll find out in just a moment. Here come the lights then. We're all set for the Japanese Grand Prix, the FSR World Championship. Lights are up and they're out, and we're racing here at Suzuka. Decent start from Bono Woodwiss. Not so good for Keith. He's holding on now just from Jeffrey Rietveldt. And look at Simoncic up the inside of Rietveldt, but he just has to hold off. The two Ghost Speed cars go side by side. Almost Callaway has already split both of the Twister cars going up the inside of Malorqui. It looks like they go side by side through the S's, and Callaway goes round the outside and makes the move stick into P6. Great driving there from Callaway's there as the field filters the way through for the first time. I did see an errant front wing from somebody, so someone's gone off somewhere in the background, or at least we have lost. Jaakko Stanoff is out of the race already. Doesn't make it further than turn one, so one car out already of the 22 car field. Down towards the Degners for the first time they come. And it is Woodwiss really starting to pull away now from Keith in second, then Rietveldt, Simoncic, Pushka, Calames, and then Malorqui and Berlak with Godek. Bowley's up to 10th already. So one Netrex car left in the field with Kostadinov out already as Godek messes up his braking slightly, and that's Disney running wide, but up to 13th already. What a start from Blair Disney. I'm pretty sure he started at the back of the field, and already he's catapulted up to 13th position. Great stuff. And the two Jasco Spain PSR cars are running well as well. 15th place for Adrian Rodriguez, with Eros Mascuni's also lost his front wing at the back of the field, 21st, so casualties on lap 1, and also Christy Young has lost his front wing, so lots of casualties on the first lap. But heading down towards the 130R for the first time, Calame's trying to go around the outside of Philip Pushka for P5, sorry, and Pushka defends, and Malorqui trying to get up the inside, and Berlak's under pressure now from Godek, but they come across the line for the first time. Bit of a lock-up from some of the cars behind, but Woodwiss leads it across the line. It's going to be Woodwiss leading from the two GT Omegas scrapping amongst themselves. There goes Rietveldt to the inside of Callum. Keep careful, boys, your teammates. And Rietveldt slips up the inside in turn one and just about makes it stick. Great pass.
Yeah, indeed. Clean start from the lot, excluding a couple of drivers with Christy Young and Eros Mascuni missing their front wings, but nevertheless, Calame's making quick advances through the field, and from what I can see, Jono Simoncic is closing right onto the back of Jack Keithley. I don't think Rietveldt will be going after Bono, if I'm honest. Bono has currently got a 1.2 second lead, which has just been updated, but I can't say it's about 1.3, I think it is. But it's covered up by something on my screen at the moment. But Jeffrey Rietveldt then in second position, probably not going to make too much of an advance on Bono Woodwiss. And we'll just have to wait and see how quickly Ivar Calames will get past Jono Simoncic.
Well, it's important that he's actually split both of the Ghost Speed cars already, because it now means that GT Omega can start to pull away and try and gain those important points that they need. Because of course, look at that, Rietveldt and Keith already had a Simoncic, and if he can't stay with them, that'll put him right into the clutches of Calames, who is there ready to pounce. And I'm pretty sure he'll get a run down the back straight as they head towards the crossover and 130R for the second time in 53 this afternoon. You can see in the front Woodwiss again, typically running away with it at the front already. I think this might be a foregone conclusion before it's even started. Rietveldt then go, and look at Simoncic to the outside, and whoa, in the background as well, that was one of the Twister cars, going very wide. That was Malorqui being shoved wide, I think, by Pushka. He's lost out to both Berlak, his teammate, and to Malorqui, and to Godek, and also Jurgen Bowley's looking pretty racy as well, so great scraps going on for the bottom of the top 10. Juicy's in there as well, and just ahead, that's Calames to the outside of Simoncic down towards turn one. Can he make the move stick around the outside? Yes, he can. Or can he, because Simoncic is fighting back, he's not going to give it up that easy. And they'll go side to side through the S-curves, and Calames is through. So precision cars, first, second, third and fourth already. It's a bit worrying at the moment, isn't it?
Yep, that is quite a dominating display, but Ivar Calames showing some true skill with his driving. I mean, he did it in Monza, but you know, on a track like this where some of the corners quite difficult to overtake, we've already said that there's a specific line and a flow through some of these corners, and to go off of that line and still make a move stick. It's quite impressive. So Ivar Kalma's there making quick progress, and he's now coming up to what's effectively his teammates. We've just seen that Franz Schneider is out of the race. And I haven't seen as to why that is, but nevertheless, Franz Schneider, the winner of the World Trophy earlier on today, is out by lap 2 of the World Championship here in Suzuka.
Looking back towards Berlak near the front then, and Berlak is now putting substantial pressure onto Philip Puška. So the two Twist Super Ghost Speed cars are falling into the clutches of the chasing pack behind, starting with the World Series winner. Is anyone more fired up in this race? It's certainly going to be Berlak, as I said, he's off the bat of his World Series victory. He's definitely looking to try and get himself a good result today and aiming for the top 5. He'll go to the outside of Puška down towards the Casio Triangle. As in the background, Zoltan Schutte runs very wide, do 130R. As Berlak clips the curb, and that now puts Godek onto his rear wing as well. As quickly just in front, Kalma's is on the back of Keithley already. As Rietveld chases after Huis for the moment. That's good to see. Kalma's to the inside of his teammate Keithley. Oh, that was close. Almost chopped off his front wing there. That could have been disaster, but Kalma's was wise to that one. These two have been teammates before. They were teammates, I believe that, yes, they were teammates back in China when Bono Huis wasn't present. He was thinking, remember, he was watching a football match in Barcelona, I think it was. Okay, so there was Keithley and Kalma's who were teammates in the main precision team, and now, of course, they're sister teammates, but effectively to each other, they're just rivals rather than as well as teammates. And Kalma's a little wide to the first part of the Degner curves. It's those curves on the exit. You have to be very careful indeed. As we had Vlad Disney, I think, going a little wide in the background in 12th position, but he carries on for the moment. Look in the background also. Erof Pascudi is back in 19th. I did also see, at the same time I spotted Franz Schneider retire, that Christy Young had to pit for a second time, and he's running at the back of the field in 20th and last position, so any hope of him coming back up through the field is pretty much long gone. But I'm sure he'll do his best to try and move up as best he can. Then back to the front, and already there seems to be a bit of a train falling behind Keithley here, Lewis.
Oh, yeah, there is a little bit of a train forming. I'm not really sure why, because pace-wise he didn't seem too bad in the practice session, but Ivar Kalma's, I think these lot were quite close together anyway, but Ivar Kalma's actually moving up the inside. Oh, he didn't go too deep. Very well held.
And behind
from Ivar Kalma's.
Berlak and Godek.
Yep, indeed, there is Berlak and Godek. Berlak is trying to get back past Godek at the moment. He's going to go to the outside through turn 1, but no, nothing's going to stick. He's going to cut back, but there's not too much room that you can get on the inside there, and I wouldn't recommend it as a good overtaking position. But Godek there up into 7th position at the moment in front of the two Twister cars. And we're seeing it. I think we saw this back in Italy as well. We're seeing like the teams kind of clumping up together. You've got, your Precision's not really too far away from each other, GT Omegas, and Ghost Speeds, Twisters, they're all kind of roughly quite close together, so that's always nice to see the two teammates going side by side, because then you're really excited because you don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully not team orders. We don't like team orders. Ivar Kalma's though obviously passed Keithley. He's got quite a bit of a gap now to Jeffrey Rietveld, so I think he's got to get doing some very quick laps at the moment, whilst Keithley is going to come under fire from Simončić and Puška any time soon.
I have a feeling that Jeffrey Rietveld is possibly lapping a little bit quicker than Bono Huis, because he's actually pulling away from these two and actually keeping touch with the 3-time champion at the moment. So this is an impressive display once again from Rietveld, showing he's very capable at the hands of an FSR World Championship Grand Prix car, and not letting Bono Huis run away with it. He's keeping him honest at the moment. This is what we like to see. We saw Martin Gosby do it back at Silverstone. So it's good to see Rietveld taking up the helm that we had before. As in the background, I'm watching Puška go toe-to-toe with Godek. As there's plenty going on behind as well, one of the Jasper Spain PSR cars.
Oh, here comes Berlak, yeah, Berlak from Godek.
Here he comes again. The 3-car slipstreaming down the pit straight as Puška goes to the fend. Godek goes to the outside, almost banging wheels. And Berlak just had to hold on for the moment. Goes on the inside, contact! Berlak was a bit ambitious there. I think Godek probably shut the door. I think Godek will try and let him back through again. Oh, again!
Oh, okay, now that...
Oh, Berlak, that was silly. That was silly from Berlak.
The second move was silly, yeah.
That was sorry, Peter, that was uncalled for. And he's actually escaped out of the race. I'm pretty sure, in some ways, that was a rage quit. We'll see a replay of what happened. Let's go back onto the pit straight then, where it all started. So onto the pit straight. If we're looking back down here, the 3-car slipstream, Godek goes to the outside to try and pass. Burlak sits out of it for the moment and waits for Godek to run wide. Goes up the inside. Max Godek shuts the door, probably not expecting Godek to do that. Now I think that Burlak thought that Godek did that on purpose up the inside and just made the contact. I think maybe that was out of frustration. I think that was pure emotion, raw emotion taking over from Burlak. I don't believe he would have done that on purpose, accidentally. He would have done that with intent. I think that was probably done. I don't think he did that deliberately. I think that's purely just the fact that he did that because he was just very frustrated at what had happened. So, but that is a shame. He was hoping for good points today. Of course, he didn't take part, I don't think, at Monza, so he's back once again. And yeah, real shame. That was silly driving from Burlak, I think. Didn't need to make that second
Baldi
move.
going on the inside, through 130R of Marek Godek, but doesn't get the move done. But yeah, with that move, if I were Peter Burlak, I'd be expecting a penalty after that one because it was silly and unnecessary. However, Baldi is now going to be in the slipstream of Marek Godek.
So I'm pretty sure Baldi saw that and thought, right, I know what I'm doing with it. Quickly gets to the inside, looks pretty straightforward. And it is, although it's not, because Godek tries to defend around the outside. Very stubborn defence from the Frescara driver, but ultimately he has to surrender. Baldi up into P8 after starting outside the top 10 in 11th. And immediately, Godek is not only having to pressure to get Baldi to try and retake the place, but also look at his mirrors because he's got the likes of Zoltan Schutte right under his rear wing. With also Zuhait's Cabo running a fantastic race so far in 11th place. Good job, Zuhait's Cabo. 11th place for Jaakko Spain PSR. Great performance so far. Ahead of Blair Disley, with Marcel van der Linden up to 13th, and Villa Lapala, well, down in 14th. Pretty disappointing run so far for Villay. He has got pace, Villay, but it seems to be that this season just hasn't had very good fortunes, and just when it counts, just hasn't been able to show his true colours.
Yeah, I did see. I saw someone go wide in the second Degner, but it was
Godek.
It was Godek. Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a blue car, and that's why Zoltan Schutte's gotten past and up into P9 at the moment. And now Zuhait's Cabo is going to be right on the back of Marek Godek and making extremely good progress through the field. So it's a good job from Zuhait.
I'll tell you what, Jaakko Spain PSR would love to score a point today because they did have a point before when they inherited one in Bahrain after the incident between Miranda and Keithley. But then when everything shook itself out and the penalties were kind of reversed afterwards. Oh, no contact! Huge accident. That was Godek and Schutte. Whoa, that was huge. Huge accident. We need to see a replay of that because I caught the tail end of that. And I think Schutte ran wide through the... He did. Schutte understeered and got loose. Godek pulled alongside. Oh, and Godek's tyre just clipped the grass. And that just spat him into the side of Schutte. Both cars straight into the barrier. And, oh dear, Godek really not made himself popular today, has he? Because that's two drivers he's been involved with incidents with, and I think he's definitely not going to be on anyone's Christmas card list after that.
No, that was a bit silly. I mean, I haven't seen the incident because I tuned in a bit late and I can't do a replay. But I don't think going to be too happy with that move. Didn't go too greatly, unfortunately.
So, the field's starting to diminish pretty quickly because we've lost 5 cars. We haven't even reached 10 laps yet, which is incredibly. But at the front, Woodwiss has the lead by 1.2 seconds. So Riedfeld's just about keeping pace at the moment. The gap's over a second, but he's not letting him get away too far, which is good to see, keeping him honest. I wonder if Riedfeld will find something later on in the race or soon to try and give Woodwiss a bit of a challenge here, because it seems to be that whatever other drivers throw at Bono, he always seems to find something in reserve from somewhere. God knows where, but he always seems to find that little bit of a switch where if he needs to turn it on to get find that little bit extra pace that he needs to put out, bang, it's there. And he just sails away with it. So we'll wait and see exactly how this plays out.
Yeah, it seems like the two closest cars on track at the moment are the two positive SimRacing cars of Blair Disley and Marcel van der Linden in P10 and P11. Marcel van der Linden has been closing up on Blair Disley, but this is pretty much the closest fight. I don't really know of another one. The fight for the lead, though, is only 1.2 seconds between them, so not too long there. And we might see a fight for the lead. Might, hopefully, probably won't though, because it's GT Amiga and Precision, and we don't really know. But apparently, Milwaukee seems to be closing in on Philip Pushka. So, that is actually, they are pretty close. I didn't realise that one. So, they are quite close to head to the SS section where there isn't too many overtaking opportunity.
So Milwaukee then looking to try and get himself a decent result here. They're looking for P6. Well, he's been away for a couple of races, mainly seeing to his World Series campaign. But now he finds himself back in the World Championship, doing what he does. Just lock up from Pushka into the second Degner. we'll see exactly how this plays out between the two of them as they head down towards the hairpin. Lock up from Simoncic in front. Puška seems to have he seems to come good later on in the race. Always seems to be able to bring the car home. Doesn't really get himself involved in too many incidents, just stays calm, stays collected, just makes sure he gets his car back home in one piece. There are occasions when he messes up a little bit, has some electrical problems, but on the whole, he has a good knack of keeping a car on the road, and that's why Go Speed love him, and that's why they keep him in the team. And Malorqui, of course, the very competitive Spaniard as always. Now back at the front, the gap has extended to another half a second, so it's now 1.7 seconds between Woodwiss and Rietveld. I think someone's had a huge lock up into the Gassier Triangle, because I was looking at the view between Malorqui and Puška, and there was a huge smoke screen, so it must have been either, I'm just guessing, Calamaze or Keithley or Simoncic. Couldn't have been Simoncic. Either Calamaze or Keithley's been taking a lot out of those front tyres, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. So as we are on to lap 10, already about a fifth of the way through the race, let's do a quick rundown of the top 10 then. So it's Bono Huis who leads there by 1.7 seconds from sister teammate Jeffrey Rietveld in second position. Third is currently Ivar Calamaze after starting down the back of the field, with fourth going to Jack Keithley at the moment, who's being pursued by Jene Simoncic in fifth. And the fight for sixth continues between Puška and Malorqui. Gergo Baldi sits in eighth for France over Netrex, the sole remaining Netrex in the race after Kostadinov didn't make it further than the first couple of corners. And in ninth position, what a story this would be if they could score a couple of points. Zuhaitz Cabo for Jasco Spain PSR, doing a sterling job so far for the young team. And I'm pretty sure they'll be absolutely ecstatic with a couple of points if they could manage that today, but there's still a long way to go in this race. And then we've got Blair Disley ahead of his teammate Marcel van der Linde, with Willem Lepala now up into P12. Well, I say that, big twitch of oversteer on the exit of the hairpin. So the top 10 separated by 16.1 seconds. So far this race has been pretty competitive.
Yeah, no one particularly dropping off too much. I mean, we've seen obviously as the typical fashion of Bono kind of running away with it, but not as much as we'd usually see. It's 1.9 seconds between himself and Jeffrey Rietveld, but you know, that's a gap that's closable. Do I think he'll close it? Absolutely not, unfortunately. And apparently we've got Malorqui closing right the way to the back of Puška. He's going to get into the slipstream heading down into turn 1.
I don't think he's close enough to make a move just yet, but just stay close as he has done. He's followed him for about a lap and a half now, so Malorqui definitely is just sizing up his opponent here, thinking, right, where is he vulnerable? Where can I try and make a move here? Where can I surprise him? Where can I try and make a move that he'll give me room, but you might not necessarily be expecting it?
Please don't be at the Degners, because that would just be terrible. That would be terrible.
Well, the Degners are a very narrow section of the track anyway, because it narrows down very quickly. So, and indeed, Malorqui is not going to try at the Degners, and he's actually, if he's close enough, he might try at the hairpin if he's going to try a Kobayashi-style dive, as we've seen him do before in the past.
I don't think he's close enough. You need to be, for that kind of move, you need like Puška to have a kind of mediocre drive off of the second Degner, and then have Malorqui have an excellent drive off it, and then close up enough. And it's having a move into the hairpin is actually really tricky. It looks easy, but to get close enough before the hairpin so that you're in the position to start making that move is really difficult, because there's not much distance between, you know, the Degner and the second Degner and the hairpin. It's just a tough move to make, but Edward Malorqui is going to have a look into the outside of the Cassio Triangle, but he's going to have the inside for the next part. But Puška stays ahead and stays in P6 currently.
It's great defensive drive from Puška, holding the line through the middle of the Cassio Triangle to prevent Malorqui trying to get the switch back. Just got himself a little bit deeper to try and cover him off, but again Malorqui goes to the outside again, thinks about trying to make a move down the outside, but again just not far enough alongside as a result of the slipstream. But Malorqui, I think really, he knows he's dispatched Puška pretty quickly, because Keithley and Simoncic are running away with it in fourth and fifth, and he wants to try and get as high as he can. And of course the longer he spends behind Puška, the more likely it's going to be that Baldi will close in, because he's losing time. And you see Puška taking a slightly tighter run through the Dunlop corner towards the Degners. Degner 1, careful of the curb on the outside. A lock up from Puška again into Degner 2. And Baldi not too far behind, he's some 2.1 seconds back, but Doesn't really seem to be closing in too much, but I'm sure he will if these two continue to duel as they are doing at the moment. So Cabo still in 9th, ahead of his two sister main team cars, Disley and Van der Linden. I wonder how long that'll stay for a while. I wonder if the two Barcross team will probably go, well, just going to need a couple of points. So maybe we can hold station and hope for a couple of cars in front to drop off through the race. Because effectively they don't. They can even say, well, we can pass it for 9th and 10th, and that means that Cabo doesn't get a point. So we'll have to wait and see. As now Malorqui's going to go to the inside. Oh, he's trying to force the issue down towards but oh, there's contact. Malorqui clips the end of Pushka's car. Malorqui gets shortcuts across the chicane. Let's see if we get a quick replay of that, because I did see, because Malorqui did get a run down the back straight into 130R, and then just when he went to go and brake to the inside, I think he wasn't braking a bit hard. He just couldn't slow down quick enough. Just clipped the left rear of Pushka's car, and that put him across the AstroTurf with the chicane. So Malorqui's lost a few car lengths, but I'm pretty sure he'll close that up in a matter of moments.
Yeah, I would agree. But you were talking about positive sim racing. I mean, them scoring a good couple of points here would be good for the team. But I will point out that Marcel van der Linden has an excellent drive last time out to score a 7th position, which is quite a good place for the team to have finished in a race. So excellent drive there from Marcel van der Linden last time out. Here though, it could be a bit more difficult, especially with the lack of overtaking opportunities, but in the consideration that we've already had 6 retirements, and Janko Stadanov has currently left the server. I think he was one of the first few. Yeah, he was one of the first few. So he's had 7 retirements already. So we've already seen quite a high attrition. We've only done 12 laps. Bono's on his 13th, about to enter his 14th, with a 3.2 second lead. So I think we could see a bit more attrition, but we'll just have to currently wait and see. Yeah, I was about to point out that Marcel van der Linden is getting quite close to the back of his teammate Blair Disley. Ooh. They're going to go side by. Oh, Blair Disley doesn't even fight him for position, so that's interesting. Maybe not a team order, maybe a team order. Who knows? It could have just been Blair going, Marcel, you're a bit faster than I am. You might have a bit better luck chasing after Zioix Carbo. So we'll just have to wait and see how that one plays out. But Marcel van der Linden did look a little bit quicker than Blair Disley for quite a time there. So we'll just have to keep an eye on those two.
So I think it's a case of Blair, Marcel is faster than you. Do you understand that message?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Whether or not there was any true team orders, I don't know. But I think it might be just a case of Blair's going. The teammates, I think they've got a good understanding between each other, and just the Blair's basically going, look, Marcel, you're faster than me. I'm not going to fight it. There's no point trying to battle us with teammates. If you want to go teammates, just go ahead. You're faster. I accept that this time, and he just wants to go up and grab a couple of points. So, and he's sure he'll do that. Meanwhile, back at the front, not really much to say other than Bono has now pulled the lead out to 3.1 seconds, almost 3.2. And we do have some people in the chat who are supporting Bono, saying they want him to win, some Dutch people, so some of his fans, so hello to all of you guys. But we've actually got, how many have we got watching the stream so far? We've got 55 people watching as far as I can see, so hello to all 55 of you. FPU Peshes, I don't know about him, but I'm starting to get really sleepy. We'll try and make it as entertaining as we can by getting you guys involved. And across the line they come then, and the gap's to 3.3 seconds. So Woodwiss seems to have it under control right now, as he usually does. Callum is in P3 and pulled away from Keithley in P4. Then Simoncic is rounding out the top 5 with Pushka in P6. And looking behind, Malorqui's falling into the clutches of Gergo Baldi, it seems. So maybe there was more to whatever happened between Pushka and Malorqui than we might think. Maybe Malorqui's carrying some slight front wing damage due to that. Zioix Cabo's off. Zioix Cabo off at turn 1. Oh, that's a shame. Exactly. Let's look at it again. If I can see on my screen, and just
turn 1.
Just pure simply ran wide, and pure simply ran wide. I think he's just about nudged the barriers on the outside, but he's back down to P12, which is a real shame because he was having such a great run in 9th position. And now he's going to do it all over again. In fact, he's actually rejoined quite a way ahead of, actually next car behind him is in fact his teammate Adrian Rodriguez. So such a shame for Cabo, but hopefully if things go his way and he can got a bit more pace and could go back up through the field, who knows, he might just be able to try and catch up again. Although if he locks his tyres up like that every time it's the hairpin, they won't last very much longer.
Yeah, that's a shame for Woodwiss because it did look quite a nice position, but that has promoted the positive SimRacing cars into the lower two parts of the points, both in it now. All the points, that's 3 for them as we speak. Also, we'll point out that Bono on the last lap that he did do the fastest lap of the race, surprise, surprise, 1:36.990, which is quite a quick lap, if I'm honest. Johnny Simonic has done the fastest first sector, though, on this current lap. Let's have a look at where he is. Oh, okay, he's in some fairly clean air, and it's kind of looking like we're all just getting a bit of breathing room at the moment, so I might start taking questions from people and things like that.
Well, as we said, absolutely. If you guys have any questions, any comments that you think, any shout-outs you want to give, please do put them in the chat, because of course we are streaming on YouTube for the World Championship, I believe, for the first time. So if we can actually see a chat, we can actually see people who are talking. What have you spotted, Lewis?
I've spotted Blair Disley's gotten past Marcel van der Linden at the first corner. I think it was around the outside as well. I just kind of caught the last part of that move. How impressive.
Can we get a replay of that, please, Jaakko? Because I want to have a look at that myself. Let's have a look. There's Van der Linden. Oh, no, he ran wide.
Oh,
right. And Disley went straight back through. Oh, and behind him, that was I think that was lag. Villa Parla. I thought Villa Parla actually went off. It's lag on my screen. That's what it was. I thought for a second Villa went straight off into the gravel of the background, but that was just lag on the screen. So Blair Disley back in front of his teammate, which is I'm not quite sure what Marcel thinks of that, but these two seem to be having a nice little scrap between each other. And what about Woodwiss Cabot? Well, he's not too far away from these three, but he's not really making that many inroads. And in fact, actually, Adrian Rodriguez is not too far away, so we'll have to wait and see if he can close in by how much at all. The battle I'm intrigued at the moment is battle for 7, Malorqui and Baldi. And Malorqui seems to have got it back up to speed again, because he's pulled away a slight gap from Baldi to what it was a couple of laps ago. And now he's starting to reel Pushka back in again for P6. So this could be an intriguing little fight between the three of these guys. Pushka, Malorqui and Baldi over P6 in the race. But as you would expect, it is still Bono leading now by 4 seconds exactly. So looking back at the retirements we've had in the race, we've had 7 in fact, because we've now had Jaakko Stadnov out after the first lap. We had Franz Schneider out on lap 3, Burlak out on lap 6, Godek and Zutia on lap 7 after recovering together. And then we have Musculi and de Jong out on lap 9. I'm not sure if that was related, but they both went out on the same lap. So we've started with a field of 22. We've lost 7 cars, so we're down to 15 already in this race. So the last of those cars, in fact, being, if I look at him, it's actually just Giuseppe Marconi, who, bless him, is always the perennial back marker, but he's always wanted to bring the car home and always does his best. And upholding it fast and speed honours today, as he usually does, and just running his own race, being nice and comfortable at the back here. So good job to Giuseppe once again for just keeping it on the road, which is good to see. Danny van der Niet also, P14 at the moment for Brem GP, in a world of his own as well. Only 4 seconds off Adrian Rodriguez, so we'll see if he can close in at all. Of course, the two Jasco Spain PSR cars now together, in the classification at least, with Rodriguez 13th and Cabo down to 12th after his off at turn 1. Lepela is just about on the back of the two Bicross positive cars of Disley and van der Linden. Disley ahead of Marcel at the moment, once again. And then the rest of the tops, and of course Baldi then keeping Malorqui in touching distance in P7. Pushka just ahead in P6, and then the top 5 is of course Simicic chasing after Jack Keithley, with the top 3 being Ivar Calames, then Jeffrey Rietveld, and of course race leader is Bono Huis.
Yeah, well, you have to probably cut me up in a minute if any close action happens, because earlier before the race I did get a question that I said I would bring up, and considering we've now passed 17 laps and I've still not brought this question up, it's really good of me. Also, I heard that Lapala went right at turn 1, but has he dropped back? He has dropped back a few positions. He actually dropped back behind Woodwiss Carbo and is now in 12th position. But the question is, what would Keithley and the rest of GT Omega do in terms of GT Omega because of next year, because of the regulations with you can't be entering sister teams or anything like that? Now, I think GT Omega would just enter anyway as GT Omega, not a part of Precision, possibly. As a separate outfit. And Keithley, I think Keithley will just race for those, but you know, we'll have to see how that one plays out. I'm not really sure what GT Omega will do, though. I do think they'll just enter as GT Omega, though, as a separate foundation, apart from Precision.
I think possibly because Keithley is mainly a precision driver.
Precision driver, yeah.
So I think possibly might be it'll be intriguing. Because you can have sister teams, but there's probably nothing to say that GT Omega and Precision couldn't share information. I'm not saying they would, I'm not saying they wouldn't, but I'm not sure how that's going to play out. I think probably Keithley would still remain a precision driver, but he'd have to race as a separate entity, I think. And that's probably the same with the likes of Ghost Speed and Ash Racing, because of course Ash Racing is a subsidiary of Ghost Speed. So they'd have exactly the same situation. They're going to have to think, well, who are we going to put into our cars for the main range of the season? And how's that going to play out? I have noticed Edouard Malorqui is just exiting pit lane. So he's the first of the front runners to make a pit stop.
Oh, and he's just come out just behind Ville Lapala. That's going to cost him a heap of time.
He'll have to hope that either Lapala pits soon, or we dispatch someone quickly on harder tyres. Now, what I'm expecting here probably is that these guys have gone 18 laps. These are guys obviously on the hard compound tyre, 17, 18 laps. I would expect them they're probably going to do 2 stints on the hard tyres. This first stint will be on hard tyres. They'll do another stint on the hards, and then of course they'll bolt on the softs, which of course will last a bit longer because the fuel will be burnt off towards the end of the race. So I'm expecting a lot of drivers to go hard, soft for this afternoon's race as we progress forwards in the event. On lap 19 of 53, and it is still, unsurprisingly, Woodwiss who leads the Grand Prix by 5.6 seconds from Jeffrey Rietveld. Let's see if he pits at all. No, carries on. You can actually tell, because I can go on board, and each driver has on the steering wheel a pit request light, which will come on if they are going to come into pit lane. So Rietveld is fine, as is Calamade. All right, Keithley. Keithley should be coming in. Indeed he does. So Keithley's pit request light is on. So Jack Keithley in from P4. Now Simich's light was on, but he's carried on for another lap, so he feels comfortable to try and get track position. And you might see the extra lap does him any good here and benefits him in any way. Pushka's light was on as well. Gogo's Baldi seems to be okay, but then again, he usually goes longer than anyone else in the stint, whatever tyres he decides to start on. Blair Disley still up to P7, Van in P8, and Keithley rejoins P9. Ahead now on Zuhait's Cabo, who of course is now back into the top 10. Oh, and again he's gone off at turn 1 into the gravel, and there goes Edouard Malorqui. This boy's not having a good afternoon, is he? He gets up into back in the top 10 points position, and then he loses it again. Poor Zuhait's.
That's exactly what my sim racing career's been like. Just terrible. Not that Zuhait's Carbo's been terrible at all. I mean, I think he's been actually extremely impressive, really. Throughout quite a bit of this race. It's just 2 mistakes have pushed him outside the points twice, and I'll have to work very hard to pull that one back and score something today, which is it's a bit of a shame. But I think we all kind of make our mistakes while sim racing, especially around a track like this. We discussed it yesterday in the World Series, where it's less than half a tenth of a second. Reaction wise, and you'll be off into the gravel, into the wall, something like that, and you'll cost yourself points, probably even the race. And it's all about keeping fully aware of what's going on the track every specific period of time. Also, I've just seen that Jeffrey Rietveld has pitted, as has Simoncic
and Pushka.
And Pushka. Okay then, so we've got a precision 1-2 at the moment, and we'll just have to see how this one. Gogo Baldi now up into 3rd position for Crown 7 Netrex. Good stuff from Gogo. And Sim Blair Disley also pits. And Jack Keithley is moving his way up with Marcel van der Linden. Marcel van der Linden's gone wide though at turn 1, which has just given the place to Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley then up into 5th position.
I think it looks like Keithley actually spooked Van der Linden for a second there. He's kind of like, there's a GT Omega car on the way. And all of a sudden literally jumped out of the way across the AstroTurf. So Van der Linden getting a bit of a fright there from the charging Jack Keithley. But of course Keithley has got himself ahead, out in front of Simichich more importantly. And Malorqui now has clear air. His tyres have done a couple of laps. So his tyres are fully up to temperature. But he's actually not made very many inroads. I think it's possibly due to the fact he was stuck behind Lapala for a little bit, which cost him time in the dirty air. Simichich now, in fact, in terms of getting stuck, needs to try and dispatch Van der Linden pretty quickly, because he's not doing himself any favours getting stuck behind him. I'm now going to look and see if Woodwiss is coming. Is pit light on? Yes, it is. So we should be expecting Woodwiss to exit into the right into the pit lane, in which he does. So race leader Woodwiss then enters the pit lane for the first time this afternoon. And let's see, Calamay should be following him in. Yes, he does. And third place Baldi, I think, all a bit wide on the exit 130 arc. Very lucky. And here comes Rietveld as well. Now then, Woodwiss has only just got onto the jacks and made his pit stop. Where is Rietveld? Rietveld is now heading through the final corner onto the pit straight, but Woodwiss is already at pit exit. And that's pretty comfortable. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's gained time on Rietveld through those that sequence of pit stops. So the undercut hasn't worked for Rietveld.
I know it hasn't indeed. I mean, it kind of looked like it might have worked because Bono was just in his pit box as Rietveld was rounding the final few corners, but Bono's pit box is right at the end of the pit lane, so it was advantage Bono at the moment, and I think that is the case really. I think he has gapped Jeffrey quite a bit more, and I think it's actually helped Ivar, because I think he may have closed in ever so slightly on Rietveld, who is behind Baldi and losing quite a heap of time. Oh, Gergo gets a bit out wide of the second Degner, and they've actually gone side by side, so Rietveld is going to be on the outside hanging into the turn 10 hairpin, but that was a scary moment there for Gergo, being pushed slightly out wide of the Degners, but held it quite nicely and is currently in third position, but is yet to pit.
I've noticed one thing, is that Milwaukee actually didn't lose out completely in his pit stops, because if you look at the order, what's changed between Milwaukee and Pushka? They've switched places, so Milwaukee's undercut has worked, in fact, because he has got past Pushka through those stops, so the extra couple of laps on those fresher tyres has done the job. But he's now only going to try, not got a huge gap to Simičić in front, but also Van der Linden's also in his way as well, and yet to pit also. So waiting for Baldi to make a pit stop. Does he peel off to the right? No, he doesn't. He carries on. So Baldi, we've seen him do this before, where he likes to stay out as long as he can on these tyres. He's got very fantastic tyre management, has Gergo. And I was just in the background, Keith, he went towards the pit wall. That's probably just to cool his car down. As Van der Linden has now pitted, so that's one less car for, and Zuhait's Cabo as well, so he's in from P10. And this time means it's one less car for Milwaukee to deal with. He's now got plenty of clean air in front of him to try and chase down Jurnej Simičić. But effectively, with the exception of Gergo Baldi, we're kind of back to where we started, because we now have, of course, again, now these pit stops are shaking themselves out, with the exception, of course, of Gergo Baldi. It is Woodwiss who leads from Jeffrey Rietveld. Baldi currently sits third, but as we said, yet to pit. Ivar Calamay is now fourth, ahead of Jack Keithley in fifth, with Jurnej Simičić sixth, Eduard Milwaukee in seventh, now ahead of Philip Pushka, who is now in eighth. And then Blair Disney and Marcel van der Linden, who have both made their pit stops now, especially Van der Linden just now, in 9th and 10th. We now Lapala up to 11th. And Zuhait's Cabo is now down to P12, ahead of his teammate Adrian Rodriguez, with the last two cars left in the field being Danny Van der Neat and Giuseppe Marconi, with the 7 retirements so far from most recent to from last to first. It was Eros Mascudi most recent, and Zoltan Schuti and Christy Young, then Eros Mascudi and Zoltan Schuti and Marek Golik, an instant between the two of them. Then Berlak, Schneider, and then Kostadinov didn't even make it past the first lap. As in the background,
Gergo Baldi's gone past Ivar Calamay.
Or rather,
no, sorry. I was, yeah, no, I was. That's why I was looking at that going, hang on a minute. Oh, right, okay. So Ivar Calamay is really pushing to get past Gergo, who's made his one move down. Oh, yeah, that was pretty simple. That was pretty simple. Oh, Gergo's gone wide.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
And there goes Keithley.
Yeah.
Keithley has a habit of scaring drivers. He's done it to Van der Linden. Now he's just spooked Baldi as well, rejoining the track. There's Keithley. So down to P5, but he splits. That's not going to work out for Simičić, because he's now Baldi rejoins and splits Keithley and Simičić. So that could actually, because Baldi didn't work out for Baldi wasn't working out for Milwaukee in terms of the fact that he was holding him up. Now tables have turned, because now Baldi's doing him a favour while running in front of Simičić. So this might actually help Milwaukee to close in here if Baldi doesn't pit him the next couple of laps. He's got 24 laps on his hard tyre. That's an incredible run so far.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying yesterday that it could have been a 3-stop race, and for these guys constantly pushing. Also, just seen that Danny Van der Neat is out. Yeah, we've had another retirement. Danny Van der Neat is the latest addition to that for Brem GP. which is a shame. It's another one to add to the ever-increasing list that we have. I mean, I saw it last time out. It was a very, very long list. I think it was about 10 drivers was in it in the World Championship last time, but he went wide at turn 1, something that we've seen happen with an awful lot of drivers. Also, I have just seen something happen between a couple of people. No, it was Simicic getting past Gogo Baldi. That's why I saw some position changing. So Gogo Baldi still doesn't pit. So he's really pushing these tyres out.
Well, you can't surely be going for...
No, he's not one-stopping.
There's no way you can do a one-stop strategy, because effectively there's no way that soft tyres would last some 25 odd laps. Unless he's incredibly frugal on his tyres, there's no way that's going to happen. So Baldi, I think, is probably going to run a shorter second stint. I think he's dragging out this first stint on the hard tyres so he can push harder on the second stint with a second set of hard tyres and try and make up some time. And then he'll probably bolt on a set of soft tyres in the last bit a little bit, try and push on. I think it's that second stint that he's hoping for where he can make the difference, because it means that he can take more liberties with those tyres than he can before, or he could do two soft stints. That is very true.
Yeah, I think that would be more likely. He got a bit out of shape coming out of the second deck now. But yeah, I mean, the two softs, that could be a strategy. If he's doing hard again and pushing on the hards, I don't really see that strategy working out too well. But the two softs, that sounds like that could work. That could work quite nicely as well, considering most other people, I'm going to assume, if they're trying to do a two-stop, then you've got a soft and you've still got another hard in their future. So if Gergo is really pushing this one out, then he could take some sort of an advantage from this. If he does two softs, he'll be absolutely flying on the last few laps. Also, something that I've noticed is that we were saying that Reveld has dropped off the back of Woodwiss from the pit stop, so he has, and he is dropping back into the clutches of Ivar Calamaze, where there is 9.8 seconds between Calamaze and the lead, and I think it's about 2.5 seconds between Calamaze and Reveld. So Gogo getting a bit out of shape once again, out of the Casio triangle and down onto the pit straight. So Gogo's got to be dropping these tyres soon, because they're not looking comfortable to drive on. Alright, it appears that Scott has... he has actually disconnected, so this will be fun, because it's exactly as it was yesterday for the World Series, where it's kind of me and he'll join and talk to you lot in a bit, or something. But nevertheless, it seems like Pushka is half a second behind Malorquis, so let's have a little look at that, as that is in fact the case. Yeah, it is just like yesterday. But from what I can see, Pushka is quite close to Malorquis, and Malorquis is getting quite close to Baldi. He still hasn't pitted yet. We did discuss this earlier, that Baldi is pushing this stint as long as he possibly can, and heading round the Casio triangle, as Malorquis did have a little look on the second part of that. Gogo Baldi still doesn't pit, which is going to give Malorquis the slipstream, heading down the pit straight. Just have to keep an eye on that, as I don't think anything's going to come of it. We'll just have to keep an eye on Gogo Baldi. He's really going to have to be defensive if he wants to keep in front of these two, especially on the tyres that he currently has. And Baldi losing a couple of seconds per lap, apparently. So I would expect that, considering he's been out on these tyres for 26 laps from the start of the race, and Malorquis getting a bit out of shape behind. But is going to fling it through the inside, is he? Yes, he is. Oh, through Dunlop. He's side by side going up into the Degner curves, but he's made it stick, and now that's going to be quite good for Malorquis if he can gap whilst Pushka's behind Bowley. But well, that didn't last very long, did it? Once one's gone, the other's gone as well. So Gogo Baldi then moving quite quickly behind two places, and is not getting the grip he needs with the rear tyres coming out of that hairpin. I've seen it quite a few times that he's quite slidey, quite sideways, quite uncomfortable really with the car. So I don't think he should be out on those tyres for too long. If he is going soft, about now should be the time he pits, really. But we'll just have to keep an eye on Pushka as well, because I think he's going to have a run on Milwaukee anytime soon. Looking for other people close down the grid. Well, we don't really have any. We've got the two GSP cars of Adrian Rodriguez and Zuhai's Carbo quite close together, but then you've got Giuseppe Marconi 1 minute, about almost a minute back from those two, after not having a particularly brilliant race for Fast and Speed, starting from the back of the grid and dropping back even further as the race went on, maybe not having the setup go their way this weekend. But nevertheless, this is the race that we currently have, and Pushka not really making too many inroads. We can have a look at what their last few laps were. Where are they? There they are. So Pushka's last lap was actually a tenth slower than Milwaukee's, and when it actually updates properly, yep, that was the case. It was about a tenth slower. So Pushka, though, he does look really close on the back of Ebob Milwaukee. So I think this is where we're going to have some of the movement, some of the combat that we're going to have for the rest of this race. Well, not the rest of this race, but this part of the race. Really, because we're at this point when we're going to be looking out for pit stops, and pitting at the right moment is going to be absolutely crucial, because if you pit too early or pit too late and then you drop back behind other cars, getting the dirty air of other cars, and doesn't work out for you too well. I think that's what we saw with Rietveld. He jumped back behind a couple of drivers, and it just didn't work out for him. And I'm just going to have a look at something quickly. It apparently won't let Scott back into mumble, which is just fantastic. I also have seen that Gergo Valdi is now into the pits on lap 29, and yeah. He boxes, he's right in the pit lane, he's aimed himself for the exit, and I've also seen that Adrian Rodriguez is a lap down. Nope, that was just it glitching out a little bit. Gergo Valdi, though, comes out in front of the two JSP cars of Zuhai's Carbo and Adrian Rodriguez, but he is on the colder tyres. I don't think he will drop back behind them, though, so he's got some nice clean air at the moment, and apparently we do have Scott back in the room.
Did I tell you I hate my connection?
Yeah. Do you remember when we were joking that it was going to turn into what it was yesterday?
It has.
It is exactly what it was yesterday.
Anyway, hey-ho and all that. Basically, I have been lagged out of the serve, which basically means that I can't get back in, because whenever they do the races, whenever there's a race on R Factor, unless they unlock it so that people can come back in and out, and which is usually the case in races such like endurance races, if they're doing driver changes, because that's not the case, the server is locked out. Basically, so if you disconnect from the server, you cannot get back in until the race session is over. It basically means I can't get back in the server, which is brilliant. But I've also got to go by is just whatever's going on the stream, whatever's going on in the chat.
Oh, actually, yeah, that is correct. Pushka is just having a little bit of a look on Milwaukee through the Casio Triangle, but I don't think he's going to make a move yet. But he's going to be really in that slipstream heading down into turn 1. We'll just keep an eye on him as he heads down there. He's in that slipstream. Milwaukee heads right from the left side of the track to the right side of the track. Pushka heads back, so he's going to be on the outside through turn 1. He's going to make the move stick. He's broken a bit later. Pushka is side by side still. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. Pushka is in front of Milwaukee now for P6. So Philip Pushka there, right in the lead of that little duel there, which is a move that we've been waiting to see for a little while now. And there it was, through turn 1 on the outside. Brave place to make a move, but he's made it stick and has made it work for him. The inverse camber, the camber on that corner is really of assistance for people trying to make a move there, and it's worked out quite nicely for Pushka.
So I guess my role as it was yesterday is just to have to...
yeah, pretty much. Sorry,
no, that's fine, just to sit in the chat, but I would like possibly just to call across Ruiz if he wins, so if you have to let me know when he's about to do that. But anyway, moving to what we're seeing in the chat, let's have a look. I did get a question about for Signal Share. What's up with Morand? I've seen some great battles between Ruiz and Morand from last year, I believe. Basically, long story short, Morand has retired from FSR, as David Hench has posted. Morgan's personal reasons are he wants to spend more time with his family and his girlfriend. But an extra element is probably going to be the fact that he's not really a fan of the politics of FSR, so he effectively it's a combination of the two, and he wanted to basically just move away and take at least a sabbatical to just to spend more time with his loved ones, which I think is fair enough. But everyone everyone has their own lives, everyone has their own work and school and college, whatever it is they do in their life. So no one who sim races can devote 100% of their time to it. So it's understandable, and it is a shame that Miranda's gone. But who knows? We may see him back at some point if he decides to. At some point next season, might even come back for the 2014 season with somebody else, with Ghost Speed or with another team. May even take a year off and come back in 2015. We don't know. Not quite sure what is going to happen here.
Comes Go Baldi on the outside of Marcel van der Linden, but doesn't get the moves done. He has also passed Vile Lapala a few corners ago. I think that was into the Cassier triangle. But Go Baldi has pitted, by the way, Scott. He pitted on lap 29, the start of lap 29, and got that move done on Vile Lapala. But now he's going to have a look on Marcel van der Linden. They're going through the second Degner now, which means he may have a run through the hairpin. We'll just have to keep an eye on him, because I don't know he's going to go around the outside. He's going to get cut back. Yes, he is. It seems like it's going to be quite a hard move, even though we'd assume Baldy could be on the softer of the two tyres, but he's going to get the move done before they get to Spoon, is he? Oh, they're side by side at the moment. They're side by side through the first part of Spoon. And yep, Go Baldi is through before they've hit the second apex. So good stuff there from Go Baldi to take a move there on the outside of Spoon. So good stuff there from Go.
Well, at least it's good to see he's actually finally pitted, because of course we were waiting to come in 29 laps on the hard tyres. Incredible he's managed to make it last that long. But obviously that must mean that he is going to be going on 2 stints of soft tyres. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on the soft tyres right now.
Spun.
So.
He's had a half spin going into the Cassio triangle. He was under attack a little bit from Marcel van der Linden through 130R, but now as they head into to the Cassio triangle, he's had a half spin. I think he locked the rear brakes a little bit. And he's back in P11, not too far behind Vile Lapala, who's closed in quite a bit on Marcel van der Linden. But just to keep you updated on the gap between the leads, 7.7 seconds is the gap between Bono Huis and Jeffrey Repo. It's not really changed too much since they went into the pits, but one would assume Bono is slightly cruising this home to have better tyre wear.
Well, looking at the last lap times, pretty much Huis and Repo have pretty much matched each other last lap times around. In fact, Repo was a fraction quicker, 135.350 compared to Huis's 135.384. So he's matching the pace of Huis. So he is as fast as Bono, as are the likes of the 135 runners are as follows. Huis, Rietveld, Calamaze, Keithley, Simicic, Pushka and Malorkri and Disley are all running 135s at the moment. But the spread between them in terms of their best laps in the 135s, well, also Adrian Rodriguez did one as well, 135.625, but he's down back in P13, so he's struggling along, but he's down at 63.7 seconds, a minute and 3 seconds off the lead. So, and the gap has actually come down slightly on this lap. It's come to 7.9 because he was a tenth quicker this time around. Huis's lap time was a 135.696. Rietveld's a 135.350, so he feels a bit more quicker. Lapala is, I think, on the back of Van der Linden.
Yep, he is actually, well, I would say round the back of Van der Linden, but on the side, round the front, and Vile Lapala has taken 9th position in front of Marcel van der Linden at this present moment in time. Go Baldi is once again closing into the back of them. Marcel van der Linden, though, is going to have a look through the first corner. Oh, wow, that was brave. And they're side by side. There's a little bit of contact there between the two of them, and Vile Lapala has been in a bit of a half spin, still sticking with Marcel van der Linden, but Van der Linden there having a look and going side by side through the second part of the first corner. And this has given Go Baldi the grip and the speed to close up on the two of them. Is now right behind. He's going to have a move on Vile Lapala through Dunlop, but they're going to go side by side. Nope, Vile Lapala breaks nice and early before the first of the Degners, and I saw Go Baldi there getting once again quite out of shape. I'm actually just going to ride on board with him now, because why not? He's done the same thing as he did last time on Marcel van der Linden. He's had a little bit of a cutback on the hairpin, but not too much. Probably had a little bit of a better drive off of that corner at the moment. And once again, he's having a look on the outside before they enter Spoon, and he's already got the move done. So it's pretty much exactly the same as the way it worked last time with Go Baldi and Marcel van der Linden. And as they run down to 130R, I'm going to keep an eye on Gogo Baldi this time, make sure he doesn't do a half spin down to the Casio Triangle. As they head up to 130R, Marcel van der Linden once again closing in. He's going to have a look on the outside, as he did last time. This is pretty much exactly the same as it happened, but Gogo Baldi doesn't have a half spin this time. And apparently Simoncic is catching Keithley, but they're not particularly close enough at the moment to cause too much attention. And yep, it seems like Gogo Baldi has just about started to get in the clean air and start gapping them with the better grip on his tyres. And as we said, Simoncic closing in on Keithley. I'll keep an eye on that, Joel, if you have anything. Scott?
Just looking at the gap's 0.6 seconds between the pair of them, and in fact what's even closer, of course, was last time I saw it, Lapala and van der Linden were separated by a tenth of a second, so that was across the line. So I'm not sure if that's changed at all in the process, but looking at the split times in Sector 1, it's personal bests for Woodwiss, Rietveld and for Keithley, whereas Calames and Simoncic have gone quicker, but Simoncic was 2/10 up on Keithley on this lap so far. Sector 2 times coming in right now, and Woodwiss does a 43.4, and Rietveld, the personal best, and it goes 3,000 slower. So that's just how close the pace is between these three. They practically match each other in sectors 1 and 2. Woodwiss does a 35.0 personal best. What is Rietveld's time this time around? It is a 1:35, I'm sure, point. Coming up on the screen, 1:35.1. So he's only a fraction slower. So looking at Calames' time as he comes through, 1:35.4. Another personal best, a personal best flying across the board everywhere. Keithley's time is going to be this time around 1:35.4 again, another personal best. I'm not sure we're going to get one for Simoncic. He doesn't. He's only 4/10 off, but he was quicker by about 2/10 of a second. Simoncic is touching a limiter in the slipstream, apparently, according to Jaakko. So thank you for that. So he's obviously getting it a little bit shorter than Keithley is, and getting stuck in the slipstreams, doing him no good.
Yeah, I mean the shorter gearing, as you see Giuseppe Marconi there in the fast and speed car going wide, being lapped by Keithley and Simoncic. But the shorter gears, it can really assist you when you're going through the S's section, especially the grip off the current corner that Simoncic is going around now. And it's I think with the shorter gears though, is it's going to be slightly difficult for Simoncic to get a move done on Keithley, especially if Keithley's running the longer gears. There isn't too many. Oh no! Oh, I've just seen someone else who's DNF'd. Zuhait's Carbo, who's had an engine.
Oh no!
An engine.
Please tell me your kid. Oh no! Oh, Zuhait's
is out.
Done? No.
Zuhait's is out after having quite a promising start to the race. Zuhait's is currently out now with an engine failure, which is such a shame.
Well, Jaakko just put O, so obviously he's
I did see the O. Oh, he went into neutral, then on first gear. Right. Oh.
There we go. So obviously he's put some 19,000 RPM into the engine and just blown it sky high, unfortunately, which is
been there, done that.
Yeah, not ideal, but there we go. But that's rather unfortunate. We were hoping for him to get a couple of good points, but that means now that it all lies on Adrian Rodriguez, and yeah, things just don't seem to be going 100% the right way for the likes of Rodriguez, do they? Of Jasco Spain PSR. They try their best, and unfortunately just can't seem to pull off a good result, which is really unfortunate. But they usually, beginning of the season, they were doing well, and they were usually able to get themselves into the top 10 and around it, and keep their cars running until the end. But it seems to be now they're pushing a little bit harder with some of the drivers that they have. Just doesn't seem to be pulling off. As looking at lap times back at the front, and it's actually Bono Woodwiss now sets a 34.9, so he's actually trying to match the kind of fastest laps that Gogo Baldi pumped in a couple of laps ago. 35.0 for Rietveld, 35.1 for Calames, 35.3 for Keithley, 35.5 for Simoncic, 35.4 for Pushka and for Malorqui as well. With Disley on a 35.8, Baldi again a 34.5. Really closing in on Disley at the moment. Great driving in the soft tyre. And then Matt van der Linden will go up with there's a 35.8 on his personal best at the moment. So they've actually, in fact, the slowest man on track right now, I think possibly due to a pit stop, maybe. Could be Marconi, because either that or he's had to back off because he's going rather slowly at the moment. He's done a 30. He did a 42.1 on the last lap time, so it looks to be that Marconi just trailing around to get his car to the end of the race. But that said, if 3 more cars end up retiring and Marconi keeps it till the end, he's on course for a point. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how those guys play how that plays out with the guys in front. And Rietveld was actually 0.3 quicker than Huis on that last time around, a 34.8 compared to a 135.1 from Huis. So looks like there's still some life left in those tyres for Rietveld. Who knows, it might not all be over, but I think Rietveld is pretty much trying to cement himself second place today. But I think really the Whitby...
dang it, another DNF. Adrian Rodriguez, JSP.
So both Jaakko Spain PSR cars are out in a matter of a couple of laps, and that does actually mean that does move Marconi into P12, and apparently Marconi's doing something strange. Maybe you can take a look at him, Lewis, to see what he's up to.
I'm taking a look at him. I'm just having a couple of bit of a frame rate issue at the moment. I'm just going to stop that. He was very slow in sector 1. I mean, I don't know what's been going on with fast speed. I mean, obviously they lined up at the back of the grid in qualifying, and they haven't looked like they've had the pace at all. And maybe they've gone the wrong way with setup. I'm gonna keep an eye on Giuseppe Marconi for just for a little bit. So if you see any gaps that's really close, give me a shout. But I'm going to keep an eye on Giuseppe Marconi. But I know he's been getting lapped by a few people. Has been kind of moving out of their way. He's been doing an okay job at it though, so shout out to him. A couple more, as you said, it's 2 more DNFs now, and considering we have about 15 laps to go, and we've had a lot of retirements now. That'll be a long list, probably going to be a longer list of DNFs than there are of finishes at this rate. So there could still be points for Giuseppe Marconi even now. So just keep going.
I did notice, looking back on my delayed stream, looking back at it on the YouTube stream, that Marconi did actually go into the gravel at one point at the S's, try and get out of the way of both the Ghost Speed cars. So that's probably the reason why I'm not sure whatever he's up to, but I think purely just the case of he's trying to be aware of the cars around him. And he's obviously just not going as quick as he possibly could be, but I think he's back up to speed now, because one of his last lap times was a 1:37. And he's now did a 1:45 this time, so obviously he really is starting to get out of the way and not really pushing as hard as he could do. But let's him into P12 then. So unless he's trying to get this, just get this car to the finish, and that's that. But we'll wait and see. Now Rietveld again is lapping quicker than Huis this time around, because he's done a 34.7 to Huis's 35.0, and they're setting personal bests again. So Huis has obviously woken up again and thought, oh, better push on again a bit more to try and go quicker. And he set personal bests in. Huis and Rietveld have matched each other in sector 1. Huis is a 10th quicker in sector 2, so I'm expecting this to be about a 34.7 or a 34.6 or so. We'll wait and see how this plays out. There we go, 34.6. Personal best in all 3 sectors, personal best all rounds for him. So that's not the fastest lap of the race, but he's definitely turning out to be one of the quickest guys on the track at the moment, as we expect, of course, with it being Bono Huis. The closest gap I can see in the field of the car still running is Keithley and Simoncic. The gap is 0.4 of a second, so that could be something brewing in a moment.
Yeah, these two have been fairly close to each other for quite a lot of this part of the race. Through quite a lot of this stint, they've been fairly close. Wow, Simoncic closed up loads through the last part of the S's section, and then kind of dropped back a little bit. So I think this is showing the difference in setup between the two of these, and I don't really know where this is going to happen. We've already discussed the setup wise. It looks like Simoncic is running slightly lower gears, so can't reach the kind of top speeds that Keithley can, but and that's going to cost him down the straights. But through sectors like this, which is out of the hairpin, it should be a slight advantage there for Keithley, for Simoncic even. With lower gears, he's going to get hopefully some better traction. You need to be a lot smoother on the throttle though, because with the way the gears work like that, you'll be spinning them up. And I've just seen yet another DNF to take us down to just 11 runners left. The latest DNF is Marcel van der Linden for Positive Sim Racing, so not going too well for there. However, they do have Blair Disley, who's in 8th position currently, so excellent drive there from Blair Disley, and that promotes Vila Lapala into the points. And Giuseppe Marconi is not too far away from that. He just has to keep going in the race, and maybe someone else will DNF. I wouldn't be too surprised in the consideration that we do only have 11 runners from about 24 we had starting.
22 in fact, 22 cars started the race. So we've actually lost half of the field, which is a higher attrition rate than we actually had compared to, because we had 10 non-finishers in the World Series race. We've got 11 in the World Championship race. So this has been a higher attrition rate for these guys here. So Marconi is, I guess he's probably hoping, please, obviously you don't want to see anyone go out of the race, of course, for whatever reason, but maybe he's secretly hoping underneath that helmet, thinking, come on, one more car just drop off and I can get myself a top 10 finish. And Marconi can get himself a points finish as well, because I need to, whilst you look at the action, I'm going to quickly look at Marconi's history, because I want to see exactly if he scored any points at all, because Marconi was 15th last time in Monza at his home Grand Prix. So we'll see in a second what he's managed. Let's see. He's only ever scored in his entire career. Well, no, that's not true. In terms of World Championship points, he's only ever scored one, and that was back in 2007. He has scored points before in the World Series, but we'll wait on that one as we think we've got a battle between Simičić and Keithley.
Simičić is going to get right onto the back of Jack Keithley as they head down towards 130R. Is there going to be a move? No. Is he going to get under braking? He's going to... No, he's not going to flick to the inside. So Simičić stays behind Keithley for now. We'll have to keep an eye on them as they run through into the first corner. He actually lifted apparently before 130R, so maybe didn't have the grip that he was comfortable with. I mean, as a driver, you can feel it in the car, and that's where, especially drivers of this league, from previous corners, you'll be able to know if your current position on track to Keithley would give you enough grip going round 130R. And 130R, you do need quite a bit of grip. One thing I will say about this grid currently is that with the exception of Giuseppe Marconi, he's only one lap down. The top 10 runners are all within about 50 seconds of each other, 55 seconds of each other. Also, I've seen Gergo Baldi's just pitted again, so he's on his second soft tyres for the last 13 laps of the race. But the top 10 within 55 seconds of each other. Now it's probably a minute because of Gergo's pit, but I think that's quite impressive, especially here. When you've got someone of the speed of and the calibre of Bono Huis, and to have the entire grid within this fairly short period of time, it's good to see.
It is. I think it just shows the competitiveness of the field and just how the quality of the. Obviously, some drivers seem to be favouring Suzuka this weekend, so shows just how adequate they are. As Simičić again is going to try on Keithley.
Yep. Oh, Simičić is now side by side. Wow. Okay. Right. So he's already got the move done now. Through 130R on the inside of 130R. But I'm going to keep an eye on Keithley because if he gets into that slipstream, if he gets close enough to the back of Simičić, well, actually, I'll just stop myself there because Jack Keithley straight into the pits. Anyone else into the pits? I shall keep an eye on that. Malorqui heads into the Casio Triangle. And then down through, is he going to head into the pits? Yep, Edward Malorqui heads into the pits as Jack Keithley leaves his box. Blair Disley, though, does not. And continues on for another lap. But Jack Keithley's already out of the pits, so it's not a position there for Blair Disley. And will Ville Lapala there from his current P9. Will he jump into the pits? Yes, he does. Will go Baldi? Of course he won't, because he's already just pitted. And Giuseppe Marconi also pits from P11. He won't drop back anywhere because he's already a lap down and he is the last of the runners. But we're heading into pit stop central as Huis heads round Spoon. I wonder if he'll be pitting anytime soon. I do distinctly remember that he pitted fairly late in comparison to some of his competitors.
What we'll do is we'll have a chat, have a look at some of the comments in the chat whilst we're waiting for the final few pit stops to take place and go around. Let's have a look and see who we said to what. The Yarrow 484, so I think just a couple of questions. One of them, who is closest to Huis in the points, because I would like to know who to support. I can certainly find it out for you.
I think it's Ivar Calaves.
I think it is, yeah, his teammate. So effectively, if you don't want to support a precision driver, you're kind of stuck, to be honest, because there's not really that many other drivers, in the championship fight, to be honest. If we look at the current top 10, once again, Simičić comes into the pits. Bono Huis leads the championship with 187 points. We didn't actually go through this, actually. In fact, so Bono Huis with 187 points currently as it stands before the end of the race. Calames is second on 135. Keithley third with 100 points. Miranda's now fourth on 88, but that's irrelevant because he's not actually taking part for the rest of the season. So Pushka should. No, he won't. You think he'll still be behind Miranda. So Pushka's fifth. Simičić is sixth. Kostadinov is seventh. I know he's in the chat as well because I spotted him. In fact, he actually retired before the start of the race.
Sorry about this, but Keithley has repassed Simoncic and has got quite a nice lead with that. So the early pit stops has really benefited Jack Keithley. I think it was about 2 seconds. I'd estimate that being about a second or two between Keithley and Simoncic now. So great stuff there from Keithley strategy-wise, and that's really worked out for him. It didn't work out for Simoncic at all.
Also, to start off 7th, Gergo Baldi's 8th, Patrick DeWitt, of course, who's technically not banned anymore, but he isn't here this weekend, is 9th. And then we've got in 10th place Samuel Lebert, who's not racing this weekend. Frederick Nielsen, who hasn't actually raced since Monaco, is still 11th with 28 points, 1 point ahead of Edouard Belorqui, who has to be careful not to pop into the top 10, otherwise he will lose his World Series status. I think he's pretty much out of the championship now. It's between Burlack. It's between his teammate Burlack and the 2 precision cars in World Series with Gosby and Van Starkenberg, who himself, Van Starkenberg, is actually 13th, but Marcel van der Linden, of course, will not score any points because he's not here today. No, he is, but he retired, sorry. So there we go. So effectively, if you don't want to support Bono Huis, you can support Calamaze or Keithley or Pushka or Simoncic or Baldi or one of the Twister guys like Burlack or Malorqui, if you don't want to support them. Also, there's a couple more comments in the chat. What else did I see?
Well, whilst you read that, I'm just going to say that the top 3 have pitted. Huis, Rietveld and Ivar Calamaze, and Jack Keithley seems like he's actually closed in ever so slightly on Ivar Calamaze. There isn't too much time between the two of them. So this has worked out quite well for Keithley. Simoncic not really closing in too much, and it's about 1.5 seconds between Keithley and Simoncic for 4th and 5th. Rietveld, though, actually looks like he might get a podium this time out, provided everything goes well post-race, and I don't think he'll get any penalties for putting anyone off. He's not had too much side-by-side contact throughout this race. It's been some fairly clean driving, and to be honest, I think it's been fairly quiet for some of the top drivers. He's not really had too much to fight for.
Looking in the chat, a couple of questions, mostly about Bono Huis. One of them, Rick Veg, says, Baldi has a spin.
Yeah, but Baldi has had a spin. I do see some smoke coming from his car. It's gone now. It's just the engine overheating. Gergo Baldi, though, in 10th position at the moment, so he's dropped back behind Ville Lapala. And I've just seen Edouard Malorqui. Oh, wow. Edouard Malorqui, no front wing, no rear wing. And that means that Blair Disley is up into 7th, which if Malorqui pulls off and escapes, which he has done, Giuseppe Marconi is now into the points. Not that that's a really good thing, because Edouard Malorqui is out of the race with some serious suspension damage. It was over at the second of the Degners, and he just flew straight into the wall. But now we only have 10 finishers, so everyone finishing will score points.
Absolutely, and of course rejoice Fast and Speed fans, because if he keeps going for the final few laps or so, Giuseppe Marconi will get his first World Championship point since 2007. So that is going to be an incredible achievement, and he'll be probably partying tonight if he gets that. So he'll be hoping that car gets to the finish. He'll probably just be trundling around for the final few laps just to make sure we can get it there. And I'll tell you what, Gergo Baldi's watching spin. Oh, he was very close not to get hit by Marconi. But that was practically a carbon copy of what happened without the contact to Gergo Baldi, to exactly what happened to, I think it was Leitner in the World Trophy race on the last lap. And now I'm seeing the rather damaged car of Edouard Malorqui. And I'm watching the replay back myself. And let's have a look at this, how that worked. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it was just the back losing it, wasn't it, really?
Just been told a message here as well. Let's have a look from Johannes Kunkel, who is not in the precision team boss, but also the man who oversees everything on FSR. What's he got to say? He has said, let's load up. Right, it says here, unless Ghost Speed scores more points than precision in the Constructors' Championship, thus the Constructors' Championship is decided. Before the race, this gap was. For this race, the gap was 173. After this race, 172 will be possible to score. So Ghost Speed will have to score 2 more points than Precision today, else it's decided. So, at the moment, it appears that we are going to get our first championship decided today. That is the team's championship for Precision. So, this is really intriguing here to see how this works out. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But you see, Marconi's getting quite a lot of. Marconi's getting quite a lot of support in the chat as well. There's so much chat going on. I'm trying to keep up with it at the moment. There was a question in the chat about Bono. Let's have a look. Where was it? There's a chat. Sorry about this. I was trying to look at the. What do you think of Bono Huis's dominance? And also, if we another question: if Huis left, who would win the WDC? Well, if Huis left, then the next person in the chat is Ivar Calame, so he would be drivers' champion. If what do you think of Bonohui's dominance? It's an intriguing one, because I understand. Obviously, of course, if Bonohui's wins we understand if Bonohui's wins every race, that it's kind of like the Vettel or the Schumacher effect, because they're dominating all the time and they win every race, and it causes people more to turn off, really, and of course, people like an underdog, and that's why they support people like Morand, who he's a very talented driver himself. Don't get us wrong, he's a very talented driver, but he just lets his emotions take over a bit too much. He doesn't really. He drives with his heart more than his head, which in some cases is a bad thing, because he doesn't think. He doesn't sit back, and he doesn't calculate his race as much as Weiss does. Weiss just sits and gets something with it and drives with his head and just gets down with it and focuses. Morand gets too caught up in fighting with people, and that's what's cost him results. And pushing too hard, and that's what's cost him the results. And if he works on his consistency, he can be a genuine championship contender, and he can possibly take the fight to Weiss, because on his day, Morand does have the measure of Weiss. He can beat him, but more often than not, Weiss is the man that is able to overhaul him.
I mean, this is quite a brave thing to say, but I've said it over at GPWC with a couple of their drivers, where I'm going to be honest here. I think Morand is actually faster. I'm also just going to. I am fully aware that Simon is really close to Keithley, so I'll jump off this if that becomes really, really close. But I'd say Morand is actually faster than Bono is, but Bonohuis is absolutely super mega consistent. He will pull out a good lap time and then will repeat that lap time 15 or 16 times again and again and again and again. Morand will pull out the fastest lap here and then probably repeat it, maybe half as many times, maybe 8 times, but won't do it as many times as Bono will, because Bono just has this consistency. He knows exactly where he wants to drive. And this is why, on his day, Morgan Morand will beat Bono, but on any other day, Bono will have the measure and Bono will win, because Bono is just quick. He is absolutely phenomenally quick, and he can repeat it again and again and again and again. And I think Sim Judge is actually going to have a little look on Jack Keithley, but pulls back in before the Casio triangle. But I mean, as a spectator, I can understand why people would state it is boring to see Bono drive, and as a commentator, I would admit to that. It is sometimes quite a bit boring just to see him, just to come into. I mean, it happened today as well. He came into this. I hadn't seen anyone's practice times, but I already knew it was going to be Bono, and unless Bono disconnects or has a crash, it's going to be Bono. We only have about 6 laps left, and to come into a race evening where you already know the result, I don't think that's really kind of like what we want. It's same as like with Formula 1 last year, where I had to cover up the results if I wanted to go and look on my news sites or anything like that, because otherwise I'd find out who'd won the race when I was watching it on BBC iPlayer afterwards. Or on the highlights, things like that, so I'd already known the results to the race, and it's kind of like that. The only thing is that we don't have a piece of evidence that's stating it, we just know it, because that's what Bono does. I think every single race this year he could have won that he's taken part in. The disconnection in Great Britain didn't particularly help him, but I have noticed that Simon Judge is getting really, really aggressive, which I have also been told that Simon Judge is getting really aggressive behind Jack Keithley, and is probably going to go for a move anytime soon. But I mean, around the outside of 130R, but not quite a move there. He's going to flick it on the inside of the Casio triangle, but still not quite a move. But that is my honest opinion, is that I understand why people find it boring. But I swear, if you are a young driver, if you are a driver that's new to the sim racing, watch Bono drive. You will learn so much from the way he drives. And it will help you. So watch Bono drive, watch the way he moves from corner to corner, and you'll learn quite a lot quite quickly. And other than that, I'm sorry, spectators, but it's just the way it goes sometimes when we have a driver of that caliber, of that talent, and no one that can quite match him.
No, that is very true, and I would not be declined to. I would not decline to agree with that one. That's probably a very true representation. I do think that, as I was pointed out, Morand is faster on one lap, but Bono is faster overall because he's a hell of a lot more consistent. He's able to. I think he resists pressure a bit better as well.
Yeah.
So he's not as aggressive. I think he can be aggressive, but I think it's a calculated aggression. Like he knows when to push and when to fight, and when not to. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But we are into the final 5 laps of this race, and as we said, the race is almost a foregone conclusion. Of course, we want to also stress as well, talking about championships, as has been told, if the order stays as it is, not only will Woodwiss win the race today, but also with Calamace finishing 3rd, Precision will wrap up the constructors' title today, not the drivers' title. The drivers' title is still up for grabs, although if Woodwiss wins today,
oh, Simon Chich on Keithley. Sorry, Simon Chich just wow, that was a good move around the outside of the first part of the Casio triangle. He just basically works on the outside and then just pushes his way through, and then he's on the inside for the next part. But Keithley is going to have a look around the outside of turn 1 and gets that move all done as Jack Keithley retakes that position at turn 1 on the outside. So Jack Keithley retakes his P4, and I think this is the battle that's going to go down to the wire unless they both crash out, and then we have only 8 finishers, which is not something I want to see. This is quite good, but we've got 9 finishers. Jeffrey Rietveld.
Rietveld's gone.
Rietveld's gone.
Rietveld's gone. That is wow. That's not something I expected.
That
means
is not
that
something I expected.
That is a real shame. So that could be this connection, I'm pretty sure. But that means that Ivar Calamace will get into 2nd position, and this now promotes. Effectively, I think this is now battle for the final podium spot, I believe. As we see, it is. So this now means that Keith and Simichit, there is pride. There's a podium place here at stake, and also it means that Giuseppe Marconi is now up into 9th place. Pretty much, he goes up into 9th, and he'll get himself 2 World Championship points for his treble. So 9 cars will finish, and this is going to be pretty incredible. And I'm pretty sure Varston's people will be overjoyed at this. A couple more points to help them out in their points tally.
Yep, here comes Simichit in 130R. He's going to go. Nope, he lifts off a little bit, I think, before then. But it was confirmed that it was a disconnection for Rico, the 2nd disconnection that I've seen this weekend from a driver that's up there. Obviously, we had it in the World Series with Gosby disconnecting from the race, and then giving the win to Burlak. But Simon Chich is just having a look again. I don't know if he's actually going to make a move, but we've got 3 laps to go. And enough time, enough corners to actually make a move stick. So we'll just have to keep an eye on him as he rounds the S's for the 3rd to last time.
And so what this means then is, of course, now that as we said, as it stays right now, it'll be a precision 1-2, and they will secure the constructors, not the drivers' championship. Bono cannot be drivers' champion today, although if he wins, there's every chance that it could potentially happen. At the next race at Korea, because of course his points advantage over Ivar Calamace is, let's have a look, well, it's 50 points. Okay, so maybe not then, because after Korea we have 3 more rounds. So effectively he could even secure it in Singapore if you like, the site of his first World Championship victory. Because effectively, if he ends Singapore with more than a 50-point gap, it will basically mean that he is the champion. But of course, Bono Woodwiss and Ivar Calamace can wrap up at least one title.
Gergo's in the pits again.
Gergo pitting again.
He's pretty much right at the back, excluded Giuseppe Marconi. So I think he's got enough time. Yep, he's in, he's out, and he's still in P8. So I'm not really sure why he pitted again. We've only got 2 laps to go as Bono rounds the SS section for the 2nd to last time. But I'm back with Simon Chich, who's not quite made his move yet on Keithley. But the constructors will be a good thing for Precision. Their 4th one in a row.
What's intriguing is that it was announced on the forums that the prize pot for all teams was announced. There's a €4,000 prize pot for all the teams, and I've worked it out is that effectively if we took before this race finished, if we took the points from because basically each team earns €2.50 for every point that they've scored, and bear in mind that Precision have earned 340 points. I've worked it out. That's €875 purely from their own team. Also, GT Omega, if they were to get 2nd, of course, because I'm pretty sure GT Omega will probably they were going to overhaul Go Speed, but I think they're in quite a fight. If GT Omega gets 2nd, and of course with GT Omega being at the moment a subsidiary of Precision, it means that going by the points they have right now before this race ends, I worked it out, including the €200 bonus for the championship winner, for the team's championship winner, and also for the €100 bonus for the second place championship, I worked out that out of the €4,000 euro prize pot, Precision will earn just over €1,500 of that, which is incredible. But I do believe, if I'm mistaken, I would like to call the finish.
Simončić again around the outside of the Casio triangle on Jack Keithley. Yes, he has actually made the move stick, but Keithley is on the inside now as they've left it, and Keithley is back in front of Simončić. And I don't think that they are going to actually have a move done, but Simončić is going to be on the outside of turn 1, but nope, Keithley is a bit later, and we are on the final lap of the race, and I will tell you when he's heading round the final corner. But Jack Keithley is still in front of Simončić, so I will keep an eye on that. But Simončić has gone a bit deep. He's going to be on the inside of Dunlop, but nope, still nothing. Oh, Simončić has gotten a bit out of shape there on the top of the hill in Dunlop, but there we go. There's Velo the Palmer heading around the final corner. I accidentally clicked on Velo for some reason, but nevertheless we only have 9 runners, which is just brilliant.
But here around the final corner he comes, and it's another dominant win, his 8th win of the season. It is another dominant performance from Bono. He takes the victory here at the Japanese Grand Prix in the World Championship, and he takes another step closer to the title, and also coming in just behind, 17.7 seconds back as they come in second place at the moment. It means Ivar Calamaze is almost certainly going to come across second place, and with that I can officially confirm Precision Motorsports are the 2013 Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing World Championship Constructors Champions.
Nope, still nothing, it's fine.
So Calamaze will come across second place. So Precision have secured the Constructors title. Congratulations to Precision on another hard-fought effort for them. Jack Keithley will secure 3rd position to take a step on the podium. So Precision cars 1st, 2nd and 3rd technically on the podium. Or is it going to be like, it just is, 0.6 seconds covers Jack Keithley from Simončić, with Pushka coming across in 5th place from Blair Disley in 6th, and he's come across the line. Giuseppe Marconi has done it. 2 points for Fast and Speed, his first World Championship points since 2007. It is going to be party time tonight with Fast and Speed. That is a great effort to get himself some points. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. And also, Jeffrey Rietveld, even though he was disconnected, he will still be classified in, I believe, 10th. I'm not sure, is that going to count? I believe in 10th, so I believe that will still count as a point for Jeffrey Rietveld. So all other cars coming through, Disley 6th, Lapala will come across the line 7th in a moment, with Baldi 8th and of course Marconi 9th, and that is done. But of course the main story is, of course, Lewis, Precision Motorsports Constructors Champions.
Yeah, I mean you can't take anything away from them. They've been dominating this year, and although for some it may be a little bit boring, but nevertheless I see Giuseppe Marconi said my last points. Is he going anywhere? I don't know, but it's been an impressive display all year from Precision. It's been an impressive display for almost half a decade, really. Which, when you word it like that, it sounds like a considerably long period of time. It is 4 years, so it is a long time that Precision have been dominant. I mean, they were second in 2009 as well. So they've Red Bulled it, and they've run away with it like they did in 2011 with Red Bull. But Precision, this is how you run a sim racing team, is the way Precision do it, and they do it very well, and they get the results they deserve. Not really the results the fans particularly want, but it's been an impressive display for Precision, and their 4th in a row is just showing that. We'll just have to see if they can do the same next year, and they still have drivers to wrap up.
Certainly have, and of course Bonohuis has a chance to do that effectively. If Calais has a bad race next race, he gets his first opportunity to potentially wrap up the driver's title, but I'm pretty sure with the rate that Huis has been driving, that he should be able to cover that off pretty simply. And I think that Calamaze will probably get a good enough result to keep the championship alive until Singapore. But I believe potentially that it's going to be wrapped up by the time we get to round 13, or it'll be wrapped up at Singapore, I should say. I'm trying to get my words out here. But let's quickly run through the final finishing positions then for this afternoon's Japanese Grand Prix, and it is Bono who's taking his 8th victory of the season by 17.2 seconds from Ivar Kalames, and that 1-2 result, as we've said, does secure the 2013 Constructors title in the FSR World Championship for Precision. So congratulations to all involved, to Johannes Kunkel, to Andre Kunchman, and also to everyone involved there, including Bono Huis and Ivar Kalames. A great effort done all round. Their sister team GT Omega grabbed themselves a podium in 3rd, with Jenny Simoncic in 4th. I have to go by memory now because it's come off my screen. Ville Lapala was 5th. And then it was Bledis.
Ville was 7th.
Ville was 7th, sorry. So it's
sorry, I don't have it either because I left.
But that's the top 5. But I know Bledis was 6th. Ville Lapala was. Bledis was. I'm trying to work this out now. Bledis, I think Bledis was 6th. Ville 7th was. We think Ville was 7th. Gergo Bali was 8th, definitely. And then Giuseppe Marconi, what a story that is. 9th place and 2 points for him. As we said, first point since 2007. So well done to him. Very good effort to keep the car on the road. And even though he did not finish the race, he will still be classified 10th. So Jeffrey Riepel will still get himself a point. And what's amazing is that out of a 22-car field, we lost 13 of them, so we only finished with 9 cars. The only other race which had that amount of cars finish or less was Bahrain, where we had 9 cars finish as well. So Suzuka's proved itself today to be another circuit where it's fast, but if you take liberties with it, you do pay the price.
I'm sure I'll find that out when I start racing around there in a few weeks' time, but. Then I'll probably be in a few barriers. It's fine, but I mean, you can't take anything away from them. The track at Suzuka. The reason why you talk to a load of drivers, and lots of them love the track. The reason why, it's a tough track. It's a tough track where there's a flow with it that when you've driven the car for quite a while, when you're like basically one with the car. You can get into that flow quite easily, but one mistake and you're out of it. And I think that's why the drivers like it so much, why they like driving Suzuka. And I think for the drivers, it was quite an enjoyable race. And, moving on to the next round, which I'm not sure where we are next round. You'll have to enlighten me on that one. I did read them out last time out, but I'm really stupid, so I can't remember.
I can actually tell you we're going to Korea in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay. That'll be fun.
But I can actually tell that, unfortunately, I won't be here because I'm going to be at the Eurogamer Expo at Earls Court in London next on that weekend. I've got a couple of press passes for both days, so that's been quite fun to have that. So I'm pretty sure Nick will return if his voice has returned to him. It'll be Nick alongside yourself, Lewis, again. So I'm sure you guys will do a fantastic job, as you always do, both of you individually and together. But yes, of course, it's Korea next. Of course, we have the World Series again, World Trophy, and the World Championship. Of course, championship fights are very close in both World Series and World Trophy, but the championship fight in the World Championship is pretty much almost a foregone conclusion. As we said, provided that if Kalames has a bad weekend and doesn't score any points or enough points to prevent it from happening, Bono Huis gets effectively his first opportunity to secure the driver's title in Korea. I don't personally believe. I think Kalames should be all right. If he does finish okay, I don't think he will get the title in Korea. I believe possibly it's going to happen in Singapore, because effectively by that time I think he will have over a 75-point gap, which means that with 3 races to go, because after that it's 3. No, his advantage will be more than 70. I'm trying to work this out now. If he visits Singapore, his advantage will be more than 50 points, which basically means with 2 rounds to go in Abu Dhabi, Brazil, it'll be all wrapped up. Which basically means that what will be left is just to try and help secure second place for Kalames in the championship if that happens, and then basically the last 2 races they can go out and have some fun. So effectively, Bono might do what he does, but in those occasions, and starts on the back of the grid, chooses not to qualify, just has some fun trying to race through the field. So we'll see and wait to see how that develops. But of course, Korea next in a couple of weeks. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that, as I won't be there. But I guess for now we can say it's another win for Bono. He's 8th of the season in his tally, and of course he's almost got his hands on that 4th driver's title. But from Nick, Lewis. But just as we finish, any final thoughts?
Watch Bono when he's won the championship, because he will win it soon. I'm like so confident that he will. He's just got the pace, but you got to give it to him. He's a talented driver. Just see what he does after that point. And then I think we'll have to be looking forward to next year. But I think with fights throughout the field, we're definitely not over with this championship. Maybe with the lead of the championship, maybe with the top couple of places in the constructors, but throughout the field, I think we're going to see some good driving. The last race I saw in South Korea, actually a really good race, surprising, because not a lot of drivers particularly like South Korea, but we do actually, surprisingly, in sim racing, there's quite a lot of good races that happen in South Korea. So watch that one, and we'll have to see how that goes.
We will indeed. People asking when the next round is. In a couple of weeks' time. That'll be the 28th and the 29th of September. So right at the end of this month is when you'll see the next instalment of the FSR World Championship. Quick note for highlights that are coming out. If you have missed it, the Germany highlights were released this afternoon. Apologies for those to be late. We had one or two technical issues coming through, but as we say, it's better to have highlights late than no highlights at all. So highlights for Germany are already out, and I think they're actually pretty good, especially because I think my commentary on that one, I'm quite pleased with that. It's personally one of my better ones that I've done. So you should hopefully enjoy that with some nice audio quality for that as well. The Hungary highlights should be out at some point later on this week, and then it's just the Valencia highlights to work on, which should be out hopefully by, if we get it all recorded, which I should be able to do in the next couple of days, by the next weekend. And then hopefully by that time, once all the audio is done by that one, I'll have worked on the Monza highlights and then Suzuka's. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get everything caught up, if I work flat out, caught up in time before Korea in a couple of weeks' time. We should have hopefully another 3 highlights packages out by the time. So our team of working on it, which is myself and Jaakko Mikkonen, and also Jans Kunkel and Edward Malork, will be working frantically to get those out for you guys. And I know you guys do enjoy them. So apologies for the hold up with those, but we are trying to get those back on track. So hopefully, by the time we get to Korea, they should all be back on track. But until then, I want to say again another thank you once again for Lewis stepping in the commentary box. Another pleasure to commentate you once again.
Agreed. Thank you. I enjoy commentating along you, especially with the World Championship. It's nice to be here.
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that one. And from Lewis, McGlade, and myself, Scott Woodwiss, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. And until next time, Woodwiss. Getting closer and closer to that title. Can he pull it off in Korea if he gets the opportunity to? We'll find out. But until then, for myself and Lewis, again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.